What is up, everyone? There's so many new subscribers recently. It's been a huge influx and pretty cool. With all the shorts and everything, kind of actually, being favored in the algorithm. So figured I'd just jump on here and see if any of you guys are doing nothing in the middle of the day on a Monday. Well, at least where I'm at. So yeah. Very fun stuff. Junk mail. I mean, it's so bad. Just constant barrages. But we're at Minnesota. What is up, everyone? Wow, there's a lot of people that just all of a sudden started commenting. How in God's name did I get here? Yeah. Hello from Italy. Hi from the US. Oh, where can I put these? I'll throw them up there for now. Greetings from Sweden at 6 p.m. there. Yeah, you guys are 7 hours ahead of us. I got some friends from Central Europe that I talked to, and they're 7 hours right now. And then when daylight savings time comes back, I think we're 8 hours. Or you guys are 8 hours because you don't do that because you guys aren't stupid. Here's from North Dakota. Thanks, Tim. Yeah, a lot of people are. I'm very surprised by it. I've had a lot of people suggesting that I do shorts, and it was kind of hard going from like a traditional I'm kind of a long form ranty rambly kind of guy to like just figuring out something that I want people to learn that I think is cool and like condensing it into 1 minute or less. It's been a challenge, but it's actually been really fun because then you can cover more things, like more ideas come out of each video and whatever. And it's just like it's been really fun for me. I'm still kind of a idiot when it comes to like working the smartphone and everything and getting all the editing done on there, but it's getting better. And then yeah, you guys have been asking a lot of good questions in the comments and stuff like that. And I have a list, so I do write the ideas that I'm like that you guys give that I'm like, oh, that's actually that make for a cool short or even a long form video. So I do have a list that I'm writing these things down. And it's just like I don't know when I'm gonna be able to get to them, but yeah. So let's just go through the comments. There's a lot of comments. This is insane. So, oh, Shoreview. Yeah, I know where Shoreview is. Yep. Um, no, I don't have the new Austrian Army camo. I didn't. I knew they were gonna. They were like testing things out. Did they actually adopt a new camouflage and get away from the olive green or olive drab? Yeah, Mill Syrup Auctions again. Like I oh, I know who that is. Scuttlebutt War Movie Review Podcast. Yeah, Nate. So in case you guys didn't know that are watching this, I do a podcast weekly with a couple of my friends, and we just review war movies. That's why we're starting to get suggestions from you guys. This week we're gonna be doing Black Hawk Down. It looks like because you guys voted and in the community tab, like the polls and stuff. So I've been putting more posts and stuff there recently because it gets you guys involved. And then it's like, well, now I can ask a question without having to make a video. So it's easier. But yeah, I'm going to be, or we're going to be doing Black Hawk Down this week. So what we do is we watch a movie on our own. We don't watch it together. We watch it separately. And then we go and just give our thoughts on it. We have notes and whatever and do a podcast. And right now it's not video, it's just audio only, but it's fine. So I will put a link pretty soon to the actual channel, or you can just click on that channel right there. Or no, you can't do that on here, can you? Let me throw a link to the podcast channel. I'll put that in the comments in the chat. So you guys can go check that out. Make sure you subscribe because we've been doing it for over a year now, or about a year actually. Sorry, I misspoke. But like we've gotten very regular with it and we've gotten more of a flow. So we're keeping up with the episodes. So we release one weekly. They're usually between 1 and 3 hours. It's long form, but it's fun. We have guests on. We had Henry from 9 Horror Views on for the Hurt Locker. That was fun a while back. And we have we have guests randomly come on that are like super experts in a subject matter, or like we did the Outpost, and we actually had Chris Jones, who you're probably watching, Chris, because you don't have a life. But he was actually at the Battle of Cop Keating, so he was able to comment on kind of what the film did well and what it fell short on, which was pretty cool. So yeah, it's a really fun podcast. I enjoy doing it. It's I look forward to it every week. It's really cool. A bunch of really cool people. I met a lot of really cool people on there too, because we all just bring different guests that we all individually know, and then we all kind of hang out and shoot the shit about horror movies. So yeah, it's fun. So let me just go through the comments a little bit. Like Bennett Lance, yeah, it's an M28. I can't touch or even refer to anything of that nature, but yeah, the one about the level of the chin strap on the helmet is an M28. Yeah. So, in Italy, we don't like France for a lot of. Everybody hates France apparently in Europe, but that might just be bad blood. But it's one of those things like you don't know why you hate them, but you do, and they're arrogant. I think most Europeans are arrogant. So hey, I'm the one sitting on the outside. So if you really want to go there, but yeah, I mean the Horizon Blue uniform is a very, very good looking uniform. I actually love it a lot. So, and yeah, so book club but movies. Yeah, actually, that's exactly what it is. But it's really fun because we don't have a filter. We don't censor ourselves. Whatever we say or want to say or how we just talk like we talk to each other in real life. Like most of us know each other, like we've met in person several times. We're from different parts of the country, but we know each other, so we just talk like we normally talk. And there's absolutely no filter like you would have at a book club. We can say fuck, we can say shit, we can say cunt, things like that, and we do. But it's not just like a 16-year-old learning how to swear. It's or 12-year-old rather, but it's really fun because it's unfiltered. It's just it's some military history nerds and people that love history and movies talking about nerdy shit, and just it's a normal conversation. So yeah. I've never sold. Well, okay, I've sold a couple original M16 Stahlhelms, but yeah, I don't have those in the shop. So my bad. Hebrew operator. Hi all. And then yeah, Finn Mosins are, dude. Hopefully someday you can get one. I would recommend starting out with an M39. I know it's very cliche and it's everybody's going to tell you, but it's for a reason. Start out with an M39. Those are by far the Cadillac, the creme de la creme of Mosin Nagant rifles, and they're such good shooters. They're so comfortable. They're very smooth, very, very accurate. They do like the heavier ball. They like the 182 grain rounds or 174. Because the twist rate's a lot shorter, so they like the heavier grain bullets. I've noticed. Like if you shoot the 147 grain LPS, like the normal surplus shit, or just 150 grain commercial ammo, they're accurate as shit, but like they prefer the 182 grain stuff. So just so you know. And Bundeswehr 55. You think Germany will switch to the new multi-tarn camo the KOSK uses, or stay with the Fleck-Tarn? Here's the thing: is our special forces and special ops use camouflage patterns. They use a bunch of different ones, and not all of them get adopted. I think multicam personally in that color scheme is a fad, and like it's kind of like Woodland, where Woodland came out and people were like, "Oh, that's okay, so we're gonna make our own version of that," and then everybody's using it, and then it gets replaced by the newest fad. So I think multicam and that whole color scheme, like the MTP, the Australian multicam version, like with the orange, and it's pretty cool, but it's still multicam. I think they'll stick with Fleck-Tarn. A, they don't have the budget, of course, and B, it's just, I mean, Fleck-Tarn works better in Central Europe than multicam does, from what I've seen and heard. So, holy shit, this old helmet, strap-on spelled backwards is no parts. Oof. Mind blown. The labello is on the wall right in front of me. I can't touch anything related to that on a live stream. You can't do any of that. So, but I do definitely have one. You can see it in one of my many videos that I made of it. I made a lot of videos actually firing it back in the day, and I absolutely love that rifle. It's so unique. It's so weird, extremely accurate. The one that I have, and reliable. It's just a cool rifle. So. Well, there's World War II gear around. It's just not surplus. It hasn't been surplus in a while. It's all collectible stuff. A lot of Cold War stuff, like the earlier Cold War stuff from like the 60s and 70s and even 50s, that's all collectible now too. I mean, like if you look at US Vietnam, like M56 gear, even when I was a kid, that shit was dirt cheap. You get an entire set of M56 webbing for like $10, right? Like the butt pack, 2 canteen covers with canteens that were dated in the 60s, 2 or 3 M56 pouches, and then a first aid pouch, the H suspenders, the horizontal weave belt for $10. I'm not shitting you. And that was only like 25-ish years ago, 20 to 25 years ago. And so, yeah, stuff's getting collectible, and a lot of countries aren't surplusing out their stuff anymore. So, but yeah, World War II stuff hasn't been surplus since about, I'd say the 90s, but World War II stuff started really going up in value because of Saving Private Ryan. When that came out, there was a massive influx of people that became World War II experts and fanboys. And they all wanted all the gear. They wanted the belts, the M1 rifles, M1 carbines, everything to do with World War II. That's when stuff really started getting expensive as far as surplus and became more collectible. Another thing the boomers did very well, just like they did with classic cars and stuff, but sort of tongue in cheek, but not entirely. So yeah, you're gonna pay for it unless you get a good deal, which is fun. But God, so many comments. I'm not used to getting this many comments. Oh shit, the pre-order German boots from last year. There was one size they didn't have, and they didn't tell me. Have you sent me an email? I'm sorry if you have. I got a bunch of them, and I've been trying to get back. Just send me an email if you ordered a pair of boots, because there's some that just are sold out, and I need to make sure I let you know. Anyway, yeah, Bennett. Oh, an M27. Yeah, an M27 could. Yeah, good. That's a great rifle to have. Actually, that's pretty cool. It's on my list eventually, but I wanted an M28 before an M27. I got the M39s, and then I wanted an M28 really bad for whatever reason. And then an M27 and a 2830 are like equally, whichever one comes first if I can afford it eventually. But I'm on a no spend for a while for guns. I got to make content on this stuff, guys. I got to enjoy these things and teach you guys about them before I start buying more shit that I don't need. So, been loving the TikTok factoid videos. Thanks. I've been like making them because I got a lot of good reactions and people are learning shit. So, old forums about prices, yeah, you know. Oh yeah, if it was a 13 and a half, depending on what size. Yeah. The problem is like the place I get a lot of my surplus from in Europe, their website and their inventory system is so 2003. It's so shitty, and they won't tell you things are out of stock, and you just kind of order it and whatever, and then you get your order and you're like, where the fuck where are all these items? Where, all these pairs of boots or whatever. That's why I usually don't do pre-orders anymore because of that. But once in a while, there's something that's so cool that I'm like, well, I just want to make sure I get people's sizes so I don't have a bunch of extra shit laying around. So that's why I do pre-orders on like boots and stuff. Yeah, yeah. Just send me an email. So, yeah, the M39 is the best, in my opinion. Of course, it's not a fact. It's the best Mosin Nagant variant to have ever existed. It's just a fantastic rifle, and Hold on, I gotta take care of something really quick. Taking care of some business. Oops. Okie doke. Okie doke. God. Yeah, I work from home, so I still have to do business while I'm live streaming. Sorry. But okay. The Moss 36, it's right behind me. Right there. Just recently got to shoot a FAMAS. It was on my bucket list. Oh, was it a semi or a legit one? And how was it? Because I'm curious. And Bennett, yeah, those Navy boots, I was so pissed off. They had like every size for a bit before they sold out. They had every size up to mine. Like they didn't have my size, and it would have been too tight, and I wasn't able to wear them. So yeah, it's I really wish I could have gotten a pair of those for snow. But I got those Canadian Mucklucks this year, and those have been awesome. So no, I don't got surplus from the Brazilian army. You can't get it in bulk, and I'm not going to buy it from like, because if you buy it from an individual, they get destroyed on shipping, and that increases my cost. And then another problem is every time I introduce a new line of surplus, like from a different country that's never been on the market before, nobody buys it because they don't know what it is, and I don't know how to price it. And it's just weird. So no, I don't have any Brazilian stuff. How did I afford all those beautiful rifles? I've been collecting for like about 20 years now. So I didn't get these all overnight. I'm not a trust funder. I had to work my ass off and, be able to get these one at a time. And I traded a lot of stuff back in the day when I was really broke. Now I'm okay. I'm not like rich, but by any means, but like, no, I got all these rifles because I was obsessed with them. I love them. I still am, but most of these are out of my price range now. And I've got one of basically, there's a few on my bucket list, but like I've got one of basically everything I've wanted and want to try out. So, but it did take about 20 years. So don't think that this is something that you just do overnight unless you're a trust funder and you know what you're looking at. A lot of research went into it too, a lot of trial and error. I got a lot of surplus stuff that I didn't like back in the day, like just the rifle or the platform wasn't my thing. So I would trade it for another one for somebody that liked it better than I did. And then also, we could have a mutual beneficial transaction. So I don't have a favorite surplus rifle, and my favorite modern rifle, I don't know. I don't like that question. I actually hate that question because it's like, again, like I asked, in the community tab, like which one do you prefer, the AK or the AR platform? It's like, okay, what am I going to be using it for? Ammo availability. There's so many different factors. I don't have a favorite really anything, to tell you the truth. In certain categories, I'll have a one that I would prefer, but I don't have a favorite anything. So the Alice pack, that's my favorite rucksack. Okay, I just said I don't have favorites. That is personally my favorite rucksack because I used it in the military for a while. Then we got the Molly 2 rucksack, and it sucked. I hated it. It was so unbalanced, and the plastic frame was shit. The Alice pack is, in my opinion, one of the best rucksacks ever made. And it's sturdy. And I don't think U.S. troops still use it. That might be like ROTC or something like that. or like cadets, you know, at in the military college or some shit. But like, yeah, I might do some content on that because that is a fantastic piece of equipment in my opinion. No, I don't have a BAR. Again, I'm not rich. So, well, thanks, Hunter. Yeah, I'm in my early 30s, but apparently, according to the illustrious comments that never fail on YouTube, I look like I'm in my 40s. So that's fun. Recommend for finding surplus rifles. I made videos on this, dude. So just search my channel for like where to get military surplus stuff. Again, you're not going to find any good deals. Gunbroker is you're gonna pay out the ass for everything in Gunbroker. You're competing against people that's all the resources, or that's the only resource they know for buying firearms, and you're going to pay a lot more. There are, I mean, again, surplus is just really expensive now. It used to be very cheap, and I know I'm beating a dead horse and repeating myself, but like it's no longer a poor person's like fun hobby. You have to pay to play nowadays, like for everything. So it sucks. Yes, I have a Hakeem. It's been in some of my videos. If you're a new subscriber, you probably wouldn't know that. But yeah, I've got a Hakeem. I absolutely love it. It's so weird. It's loud, it's accurate, and it doesn't kick at all for an 8mm rifle. My K98, which one? I've got two. I've had several come through, in and out of my collection. For my German one, my German bolt mismatch, back in 2010, I paid $225 for it. And then my Yugoslavian capture / rework, the Preduzecia 44 one, which has got the Yugo crest on it and then the stamp on the side. I think I paid $200 for that back in like 2014, right before they jumped up in price. So number 4 Mark, one of my top 10. No, but number 4 Mark II is. And yes, I would highly recommend the Alice pack over the Molly 2. The Molly 2 is a hunk of shit, in my opinion, of course. But because here's the thing is I'm a big fucking top heavy tall dude. So when I was ruck marching with the Alice pack, it was centered on my back and it was balanced and you could pull it in real fucking tight so it didn't move and didn't throw your balance off and you could haul ass at that thing, right? The Molly 2, when I got that, I was like, oh, this is really comfortable at first. And then we went on our first ruck march. I think we only did like 5 miles or something like that. And I was almost falling off the road. I'm like, this thing moves. I can't pull it tight enough. It's big. And just the way the pouches stick out on the outside, you have to completely balance them to the ounce, or else it's gonna throw your balance out. That's why I didn't like the Molly 2. It was annoying as shit. So Samco went out of business because they didn't keep records well, and they just were not good at managing shit, from what I've heard, which sucked. And they had there were some more issues in there. I don't remember. I'd have to brush up on that, but there's a reason they went out of business, because I used to buy shit from them all the time. And yeah, it sucks that they're gone, but it is what it is. I mean, if PSA can make the Sturmgewehr 44 and it's pretty much just as shitty as the original Sturmgewehr 44, sure, I might consider buying one. But again, I don't know. I guess you're not going to get the full experience out of it, just like the SMG FG42. I shot one of those. It's fucking cool, but it's only semi-automatic. It's like I couldn't actually see what it was like to shoot it on full auto because of stupid fucking laws like the NFA and the GCA. So, and the Hughes Amendment, which is fun. And yeah, I mean, it depends on the price, but I probably won't buy one. If somebody wants to let me shoot theirs out at the range, cool. Like I won't turn it down, but yeah. Blah, blah. Soviet surplus is so expensive because they don't allow a lot of exportation of surplus stuff. Most of the Soviet shit that you find that was on the market for so long was from Ukraine. It wasn't from actual like Russia, because they keep that shit there. And then if you export so many things, they think you're an arms dealer or a whatever warlord, and the KGB will come knocking this is from actual sources, because I've asked them, like, why can't you sell me 20 helmets at one time? Well, because we're going to get looked at, will be on the radar. So Soviet surplus is expensive as fuck because you either have to pay for it piecemeal from Russia and pay the exorbitant shipping and wait 3 months for it to get there, or guys like me that actually are retailers can't get it in bulk directly from Russia because of trade restrictions and all that shit. And just, yeah, it's stupid. AG-42B and the Rashid. Yeah, I want to get an AG-42B. The Rashid is like one of those things where if I can find one and if I have the money, the extra money for it, I'll get one eventually. But it's like the AG-42B, I definitely want one of those. I love the 6.5x55. It's one of my favorite calibers ever made. So, the military service. People always ask me this. I don't know why people. I suppose because I, wore ACUs in a couple of videos and whatever. So I was in the Army. I was in the Wisconsin Army National Guard, and I was 11 Bravo, and I deployed to Iraq in 2009 and 2010. So, those Israeli K98s are awesome. And I used to have several of those back in the day, and then things got tough, so I had to sell them. They were fucking awesome. The 7.6251 conversions, man. You talk about a hell of a rifle. Great. I wish they were still super cheap because it's great for somebody who's poor to be able to go hunting with a super commonly used caliber in the U.S. and just, cheap, well, it was cheap ammo, and be able to go hunting and, provide food for their family. It was awesome. That's why I liked surplus rifles in general. Oh, of course. 11 Bravo Jones, yeah. I go camping with the Alice all the time. Yeah, because they're fucking awesome. And you know that, and I know that. What, Chris, what did you think of the Molly 2 when you guys got that? I think, isn't that what you got in Azkrakistan? Well, north of 2K. Well, it's not the 5K that the SMG FG42 costs. But yeah, I'm probably not gonna, unless I hit the fucking lottery, I'm probably not gonna buy one of those because it wasn't a great weapon to begin with. And if I'm gonna get one, I'll just wait till I literally hit the lottery someday and I can buy a real one. So yeah, I was definitely a nasty girl, but I was in a fucking awesome unit. So it's not like the I couldn't figure out why when I was in basic and AIT, like they made fun of the National Guard constantly until I got to Kuwait and I saw other National Guard units from other states, and I was like, oh, that makes a lot of fucking sense. Okay, I get it now. So yeah, so Chris, like you guys got to issue them and nobody used them. We didn't use them either. We used our assault packs. Like it was like, fuck this rucksack, man. Like I think I went on a total of like before we deployed and during deploy, like I think I went on a total of like 3 rucksacks of that. I'm like, I can't fucking do this. And even our old timers, like our squad leaders and shit, were like, this thing fucking blows. So of the cool uncle, it says, come here, son, let me tell you the history of the Alice pack. Yeah, but unless the son wants to hear, I'm not going to do it because when I was a kid, let me tell you something. Just, I mean, the worthless stories. Like, it's cool when somebody tells you something of use that you're interested in, but yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'll just probably end up buying one. So I've got a bucket list of like, I think 5 or 6 firearms that I want to like actually own before I die. And the AG-42B is one of them. A G-43, a G-41, and I want to get another Madsen M47. I used to have one. The extractor was fucked on it, and right after I sold it because I needed the money, some dude made a run of like brand new manufactured extractors for like $20 a piece. I was like, fuck, and that sucks. So that's another one on my list is the Madsen M47. Never got to shoot the one that I had, which sucks. And I think that's actually about it as far as, I mean, there's probably more on my list, but like those are the ones that I want to get before I die. So like I've got basically everything else that I want and love. So Okay, you say the KGB ceased to exist. They just call it something different. Just like they're not the NKVD, they're the KGB. It's the same fucking idea. It's the spooky people that contact you and you go out into a car with them at 3 a.m. But yes, I see you have Cyrillic as your name, so you probably know more than me. So SVRRF. I'm just going to call it the KGB because that has the least amount of letters that I have to say every fucking time I talk about them. If that makes sense. Hold on. Yeah, well, that's a great offer, Spotted Cow. Unfortunately, I'm one of those fuckers that cannot tolerate gluten. I have celiac, which is fun because I made fun of gluten-free people for years, and then realized that it was making me violently ill, and I can't do Spotted Cow. Even though back in the drinking days, I definitely loved me some Spotted Cow. We would go to a bar and get pictures of that shit. It's amazing. But thanks for the offer, but I'm gonna have to respectfully pass on there. So, oh, SVT40, yes, that's another one that's on my list. Not because I like it, but because I just want one to fill a fucking gap in a collection. That's it. I want to be able to talk about it and kind of the history behind it and all that shit. But yeah, the SVT40 is on there as well. But Jesus Christ, I remember looking at those and be like, God, I'm not going to pay $800 for a fucking whatever. There's a bunch of them, but I know the trade embargo, all that shit. And then of course you had all the Canadians for so many years. Oh yeah, we can we can get these for $200. Yeah, yeah. How you liking that down in the States? I'm like, yeah, I try to buy a fucking FAL or G3. You can't, clown. And now look at your situation. So if you're from Canada watching this, yeah, you talk shit for all these years, we win. Actually, everybody loses, but hey. Oh, cool. I just got an email from Empire Arms. That's a place that I'd recommend to get surplus stuff because you know exactly what you're going to get. He charges like what the going rate is. He doesn't fuck people over. And he's got some really cool shit. So he's got a model. The fuck is this? Oh, cool. French. Oh, I'm really glad I didn't see that. Damn, I would have probably and I'm glad it sold rather. Yeah, if you're not go to empirearms.com and sign up for the mailing list because like then you get the immediate like, hey, here's the shit that we have, and then get first dibs on there. So yeah, fucking SVT 40s and Rashids and AG 42s, they're all like $3,000 fucking dollars. And yeah, yes, Mr. Knight, we were just talking about that. I'm not going to talk about it again. I'm not going to pay that much money for a semi-automatic version of a shitty rifle to begin with. So if somebody wants to let me shoot it at the range, when if I'm out there and somebody's like, hey, check this out, I will, but like I'm probably not gonna buy one unless I win the lottery. So it goes Empire Arms and Gunbroker. Gunbroker, you're just gonna pay a lot more. You can get a lot of shit on there. I've purchased stuff and I've sold stuff on there, but you're gonna end up paying a lot more than the usual like retail, and that's what drives values up. Is people look at Gunbroker and they go, wow, this guy got this for this, so this is what I'm gonna ask. And that's it's been a big contribution to why surplus has gone up exponentially in price. So all right, I'm gonna take 5. I'm gonna go piss, and yeah, we'll talk about proxy bin when I get back. But like, take 5 and take a piss, and then we'll call it. Or not call it. Jesus, we're not gonna call the stream yet, but like we'll get back into it. So. I have returned, my blossom, a changed bee. Yeah, Proxybid, I've talked about this before. We've actually done live streams where like Matt Larossier from Fudbusters and my friend Nate from Scuttlebutt, the podcast, and I, a couple months ago, we had a really good auction. And it was like the auction that you get like once a year where you actually get really good deals on shit. And my friend Nate ended up winning a Smith & Wesson model 1917 revolver for $500. That's less than half of the value of like the retail value. And it's a Smith, so they go for a little bit more. And I actually want one in my collection, but so he got one. Matt got a bunch of really cool shit. And we streamed that live and it was really fun. But yeah, Proxybid, you can get good deals. Again, you're bidding against everybody because that's now like back when I started Proxybid and shit in like 2014 and 15, there was a lot less people that would be on there bidding against you because they didn't know about it. You get a lot of good deals. So yeah, I have gotten a lot of cool guns on there for really like not cheap, but like a good price. But then starting in like 2016 to 18, that was kind of the range where everybody, including like the super wealthy, like, you know, boomers with their pensions and shit, started figuring out that they could bid online. And, you know, after 2 years of learning how to use the fucking website and pay for it, they started bidding shit up, and a lot of trust funders and shit like that too, people with more money than I have. And then it started to become not lucrative. That's why I say you get one auction a year where you get super lucky. We happen to be live streaming for that. Like Nate would place bids and I would place bids on shit just before the auction and we'd never win it. But a Matt live auction, that's what we told Matt. We're like, dude, get on here. Good prices right now. But the hunt has gotten a lot harder now, I guess. It's like hunting buffalo, right? Back in the 1800s, there was a lot of buffalo, and then towards the end of the 1800s, there was less buffalo because people were shooting them constantly and wasting a lot of their products and shit. And it's just like it's more of a scarcity, so the hunt got harder. Well, that's kind of how it is with surplus rifles and gear in general now, unfortunately. But like, yeah, you can get lucky on Proxybid, but you need to know what you're doing. You need to be on top of things and have a strategy. And it's fun, but it gets old. It does. It's very frustrating. So they made new production military rifles from history. What's something I'd want to see? I don't know. They already make the FG-42. That's one of my favorite original design concepts that has ever existed. If they could make the FG-42 just as good, if not better than SMG does, and they did it for half or less of the price, that's something I would probably buy. But the Sturmgewehr F-44, again, it's a shitty platform to begin with, and I don't know if I would drop $2,000 on that. But yeah, so the SMG has already done the FG-42, so PSA they'd have to do like, I mean, everything they're gonna make is semi-automatic, so it doesn't fucking matter anyway. Like, it's gonna be just people that, I don't know. I just wish the fucking Hughes Amendment and the NFA didn't exist, but that's a different story. So Aurora, like history of labor movement. No, I'm mainly a military historian. But with that, you have to know political history, social history, technological history, scientific history. So I dabble, but I'm literally like my friends. I have a lot of friends who are very, very specialized in like one or two topics of history, very specialized. The problem with me is I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none, I would say. I know a lot more about certain subjects than others, but I just like to dabble in everything. I've got ADHD really bad. And so I get sick of one thing and I'll just move on and an interest will be sparked over here and I'll just, because history is fucking endless. Like there's no way you can know it all. And so I don't really have something that I would consider myself an expert in, but I consider myself knowledgeable in a bunch of different subjects. So if that makes sense. I mean, I know it's a kind of a shitty, dodgy answer, but that's the truth. So, the oldest milsurp I have is my Martini Henry Mark II. I don't know if it's an A. I think it's an A. Or no, it's a Mark II. So it's a short lever. It's an 1874. So I haven't shot it yet. But it's funny because that one was one that I got at an auction because they said it didn't function. And I was just like, well, fuck it, whatever. I'll just get a wall hanger. Who cares? And so I got the thing, and yeah, when I pulled the lever down, the block didn't fall, and I'm like, okay, fuck. Well, it doesn't function. And then I noticed that the buttstock screw was screwed in way too far and preventing the block from falling down like it's supposed to. And so I went over to my neighbors and we constructed a tool to get the buttstock screw out without damaging anything. We backed it off about 1/4 of an inch. Worked perfect. So I just have to load up some rounds, which my reloading gear is not set up at the moment, which that's gonna be a summer goal, so I can start making more videos about older stuff. But I've got all the brass, I've got all the fucking pyrodex, like the pseudo black powder, and I've got all the projectiles made. I just have to assemble all the cartridges and then go out and actually shoot the son of a bitch. But yeah, that's the oldest surplus rifle I think I have. I don't do a lot of like percussion and flintlock shit. Actual surplus. Like I have modern. I would like to get modern replicas of that, and I have like some modern percussion black powder guns, like a Hawken or a Thompson Center fucking 50 cal Hawken rifle. But yeah, I don't have any like actual surplus from anything before basically the 1870s. Have I ever smoked crack out of a crab shell? No, I'm not from fucking Maryland, and I'm not a degenerate piece of shit like somebody that I know. Nate. Wait, long time here. Congratulations on the recent success of the shorts and stuff. The jump in subs is fucking insane. It's the biggest I've had ever. I didn't realize that shorts were that consumable and popular. And I've gotten, I think, around 8,000 subs in the past week and a half. So that's pretty fucking cool. That's why I'm making this live stream. So like, in case there's new people that kind of want to come on and see, just how degenerate and ridiculous my ass is, and ask questions and all that shit. So, yeah, but yeah, thanks a lot for the congrats. It's been really cool, and like I said, I enjoy making the shorts. Like, it's actually like, because I've been making long form forever, and it's just kind of I was set in my ways, and then the shorts forced me to have to condense what I would usually ramble about for 10 minutes into less than a minute and get all of these succinct information across and like be able to cut it right and everything. And I still like using the props. I'm a fucking nerd, of course. I'm a fat fucking history nerd, of course. So I'm going to wear costumes and shit, but I actually think that helps get the point across a little bit better because you can relate, and like it gets you, for me at least, it gets me into that mode, into that zone of like, when you're looking at some fat French dude wearing Horizon Blue, okay, we're talking about the First World War. Okay, and it's instantly there and it's more relatable. So that's why I do it. I like doing it. It's fun. It's playing dress up, I know, but yeah. I'm now a TikTok e-girl. Yeah, definitely. I'll start posting videos of my feet, and then you can subscribe to my OnlyFans to see the rest of them, see the bottom of them, how dirty they are, how much mud they have on them. Fucking silt, dog hair, cat hair. So I use hooks that you can get on Amazon, gun hooks or whatever the fuck they call them. They went up in price, of course, like everything else, but yeah, they're just like hooks that have padding in them that you just find the stud and screw it in, and then measure out because each rifle is different. They hang differently because they got different angles on the buttstock and lengths and shit. So yeah, you find the stud and then you just kind of measure. You go gun by gun. So. Store. Oh, my store. Yeah, here, I'll get you the link. No problem. It's a really original name. Your shorts the way to find a world history class when a dude in class said, "Hey, this guy can tell you how much Moses is like getting screwed." Who said that? One of your friends or a teacher or who? Yeah, I have thought of becoming an FFL. I don't want to have to rent out a separate space because if I don't do that, the ATF has the authority and the right to come in and inspect my premises anytime they want. And they also don't like private FFL dealers. They like businesses that are like, established, whatever. So I'd have to get a bunch of safes and I'd have to get security equipment. And I don't want my privacy fucked over any more than it already is. So no, I've looked into it. Trust me, I would love to do it, but I'm not gonna fucking bow down to that shit. And yeah, Aurora, that's fine because here's the thing: is I know nothing about what you just said. I know absolutely nothing about it, but somebody needs to, and I appreciate everybody who's got their niche in history and their knowledge. Whatever topic you specialize in and really focus on and really get into, I appreciate the hell out of it, even though I might not know it, or necessarily care about it, to be honest with you. But like historians need to specialize usually in one thing. You get weirdos like me that kind of just all over the board. But when I find a specialist that knows about something that's so niche and so weird, people don't know about, I'm like, that's good because then it'll keep the spark going, right? Because that flame may be out, but there's still a spark there. And then maybe your research, and if you write a book someday or publish a fucking video on YouTube or whatever, somebody down the line will go, "Oh, that's interesting. I want to learn more about that," and they'll keep that spark going. So that's my stance on history. I think the more people get into like these weird, obscure things, the better. I have, but again, I just go like, I drill in about 40% and then I'm like, oh, rabbit. Next thing, so. U.S. uniforms, the rank patch is like, I don't know the actual regulation, but it's usually, I don't know, it's just above where your shoulder bends for NCOs on the right shoulder. That's I mean, I'm sorry I can't give you a better answer. It's just that's what I've always done, and it looks correct to the original uniforms that I have. Because the original uniforms I have, some of them have like corporal chevrons on them, and they're at different heights, and so I don't know exactly. There might have been a regulation, but soldiers, contrary to popular belief from a lot of experts, don't necessarily follow regulations all the time in a combat zone. So, or in like a war zone, like it's just kind of whatever they want. So as long as it looks a reasonable amount down and it's kind of just what I would just say is, like I said, above your shoulder, or Jesus, above your elbow, not your shoulder. I misspoke. My bad. Gun prices hit a wall. Commercial guns, they already have. Surplus guns, no. That's just going to keep climbing because of subsequent, or not subsequent, like previous administrations just slowly choking out the import ability, and more sanctions, more regulations. They're making it really hard for importers like Century Arms and shit like that, and other ones to import firearms. And also the supply is just not there anymore because of the Hughes Amendment and the NFA, right? The Hughes Amendment to the NFA. We cannot import surplus. Like we can't import FALs. We can't import fucking Steyr AUGs. We can't import G30, like surplus guns that people are selling. We can't import AKs unless they're in a parts kit and they're completely fucking butchered and castrated. And so that's been most firearms since like the 1960s. So what we're looking at here is the last bolt action rifle was the Madsen M47. that was actually used by a military, contracted and produced for a military as their main battle rifle. That's 1947. Okay. So since then, it's been semi-automatic and select fire weapons. Okay, well, whatever's in the country now is pretty much what's in the country, if you think about it. So you can't have these things unless they're in a parts kit, and then you have to build them or fucking pay out the ass to have somebody build them professionally to fire semi-automatic, only semi-automatic. And I don't think it's going to hit a wall. I think it's just going to keep going up. It's just like anything that there's a finite amount of and that everybody has already. It's no longer in the primary market. The prices are just going to keep going up. So, yeah. Gorka suits, I don't know. I have no experience with them. I know all the Rusaboos, the fanboys love them and swear by them. I don't know a lot about Russian and Soviet, well, Soviet shit to an extent, but like not Russian shit. I think EMR is okay. It's cool, but I'm not a Rusaboo. So if that answers your question. The green goof. Yeah, I love camouflage too. And that's the thing is like, I started collecting too much shit. Like I have surplus firearms, and with firearms, you have to get a bayonet for each one of those, right? Then you have to get the helmets, which I mean, that was my main thing is helmets. And then it's like, well, now I want to collect camouflage. It's like, well, I can't do that. I don't have this fucking space for it or the money. But I do have an okay amount of different weird camouflages because, again, I'm a nerd. I love that sort of thing. Like the UCP Delta blouse that I made the video on. That thing's brand new, unissued. And then Chris Jones actually sent me he's the one that sent me the helmet cover on the ACH that he actually had on deployment in Afghanistan in 2009 when I was in Iraq. It's funny, weird timing. But so that's why I collect weird things like that. But yeah, camouflage is just something that I can't keep doing it. I might get a couple pieces here and there if somebody like really requests it, but I have enough shit to make content on for a while. So what's Serpat? I mean, I could Google it, I guess. Let me just do that. Okay. It looks like a combination of Marpat and Chinese M 2007, like regular uniforms. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Oh, there's nothing glamorous or glorious about war. Thank you. Yeah, I know. And yeah, Tim, ACUs were, even the cut it just looks tacky as fuck. It's like, yeah, 99% of the time, people were not wearing body armor with their uniforms because most of the military is pogues that never have to put on body armor. So why the fuck do you have to put pockets up here that are angled for the very select few people that are wearing body armor in their jobs? Most of these uniforms were worn in garrison and look like absolute sloppy shit. And then, oh, let's have this giant Velcro patch because the first Cav division or the first Air Cav division has the biggest patch, so we have to accommodate for that. And yeah, it's just don't get me fucking started on that, Tim. You know, you wore them, fucking I wore them. It's oh god. I mean, it was embarrassing. Like in Iraq, it was funny because we got the frac hues, right? So the flame retardant Army Combat uniform. And it was made out of like rayon and cotton and a little bit of Nomex, I think, or something like that. So it wouldn't melt to your skin if you got hit with an IED or, blew up or some shit. They were a lot more comfortable, but they were built shittier. Like it was the material was so comfortable and it breathed well in Iraq. But like, dude, I went through so many pairs of pants just because they tore the crotch up from the from my nuts down to my knees. It would just tear out. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, it's insane. And then they would fade, which was good because they were in UCP, but they would fade, and the ink combination that they used would turn pink, like kind of an overall pink hue. And I'm like, oh, it actually kind of is effective. But yeah, it was more effective in Iraq, but like it just looked like shit, of course. I just think it made our army look really unprofessional. And the Navy was where we had Navy personnel where we were at, which is weird, like a big part of like a big contingency of them. And they were all wearing ACUs with Navy rank. And I'm like, that why would the fuck wear your blueberries? That would blend in better, I guess. So how do you afford all your gear, guns, helmets, uniforms? Again, I've been collecting for over about 20 years for all of the above. And it takes a long time, and you go into debt and then you pay it off. I'm in the process of paying shit off right now, of course. But yeah, I mean, I worked my ass off, and you make money and you spend it all and you have no extra money. So that's how you afford all this shit over 20 years. You also get lucky and you buy shit and you trade up. That's a lot of guns that I've specifically, gotten were trading up. So I gotta blow my nose quick. Sorry if this is gonna be nasty to some of you. If you're averse to this, go ahead and cover your ears. I'm in a very dry area. My house has got a furnace going on because it's freezing cold and dry outside. So there. Nose gets a little bit irritated. Yeah, pink AC. Yeah, I think you just typed that as I was saying that, Tim. Oliver Brush, it's too light. That's the problem. Is like the military said that there was they surmised that there was one universal solution to save money, so you don't have to have a fucking woodland and a desert fucking camouflage uniform. That's not the fact. You literally need, like, in my opinion, 3 to 4 uniforms depending on where you're going to be operating in the world. And it's just a stupid concept. I think yeah, I definitely think Oliver Brush was way too light colored. It was basically like wearing khaki, right, with a little bit of green in it. And it's, I don't know, multicam is the same thing for me, like an OCP or Scorpion rather. It's too light. Like if I had it my way, like if you have to go with multicam, I would have done woodland. You wear multicam tropic, and in an arid environment, multicam arid, right? Or Highlander. Highlander is pretty cool too. Or no, that's Cryptech. That's Cryptech. Never mind. Jesus Christ, I'm getting this all messed up. But yeah, it's I don't know. I think the military is retarded for trying to make this, all OCP is, or Scorpion is the universal pattern. It's like, yeah, well, okay, pay the money to just have a fucking woodland desert set. Like that's it. So all right, PKCs. Where in Iraq did I go? If you still remember, I was in Baghdad, just outside of Baghdad. I was right next to the airport. What kind of outfit is that? It's French. Yeah, it's a French M1915 variant uniform. So World War One. How often do you acquire items outside of trading with close contacts or auctions? Not that much anymore because I've done too much acquiring in the past 20 years that I need to slow down. I don't have the space for it, and I just need to, pay off debt as well. So, got any U.S. sniper rifles? Can I have a look? No, I can't touch or even talk about or look at guns on a live stream. So no, it's not going to happen. So, did U.S. soldiers from Vietnam wear their M1 helmets without a sweatband? Or are they all these sweatbands in their helmets? Probably a sweatband, because if you wear a helmet without a sweatband, it's going to absolutely just wobble and do this all the time, unless you have a size like 8.5 head, which some guys do. Maybe they wore them, but like, no, you can be wearing a sweatband because it holds the fucking helmet onto your head. A proper pattern for environments you're fighting in. That's heresy. Yes, exactly. That's the dipshits in the Pentagon and at Natick Labs and all that shit. That's what they think. They're fucking idiots. Let's save money by spending $5 billion on a shitty pattern that is universal, and then going back to the pattern that we were going to go to anyway, but not having to pay the fucking royalties to or buy the rights to it. It's like, dude, just fucking have a fucking separate uniform. Oh, then we have to make it like, because I think their whole point is like, all these fucking boomers that were in like, they were in command like during Desert Storm, or like they were the higher, or not the higher ups, but like the Greatest Generation guys were the real higher ups, and then the boomers in Desert Storm were like, we need a shitload of DBDUs. Oh, we can't issue all of our guys desert uniforms. We're gonna look like shit because we have to issue them woodlands, or they're just gonna wear their woodlands. It's like, yeah, well, don't get into fucking stupid wars in an environment that you don't really have camouflage for. Then how about that? That's just my take on that. But hey. ATAX is okay. They still have their issues too with the coloring. That's the thing, is all these camouflages are too fucking light. The problem that I have with M81 Woodland is it's too dark in most places. It creates like a dark silhouette. The light camouflage patterns, like they make you stand out for different reasons. So no, there is no perfect camouflage pattern. Always is a fan of Tiger Stripe. Yeah, you and every other single fanboy that thinks it looks cool. How much is my collection worth? I don't fucking know. I don't keep track of that shit. Take you out at 5.5 kilometer. Is any camo armor? So you're starting to get pissy because I don't like Russian shit and I'm whatever. Like, what are we doing here, Mr. Cyrillic shit? Yeah. Yeah, you've got a Kurdish, or that is a Kurdish flag, right? Yeah, Baghdad, as they call it. I didn't have a great time there. Someday I might go back, but I don't know. It's whatever. My favorite impression to do is World War II GI. Of course, it's been an absolute blast. Yeah, because that's the most basic bitch thing. At least you're not doing 101st Airborne, 506 Easy Company. Thank you for that, unless you are, which, oof, maybe I jumped the gun there. My favorite impression to do is World War II Romanian. That's a fun one because nobody knows except a couple of the SS reenactors that obviously are at every event. They're like, holy shit, you guys are Romanians. And we're like, yeah, cool. So we did an Eastern Front kind of thing. And they're like, yeah, it fits. This one's a repro. I have an original up there that actually does fit me. I just don't wear it around because for obvious reasons, it's all original. And I don't want to get sweat and oils and shit on it. So it's on display. Yeah, ERDL for sure. Yeah, I know the Pentagon has gone down the shit. It's been down the shitter. Like, you don't need to preach to me. Like, I already know this shit. Oh, so you're doing 28th. No, that's cool. Like, I appreciate that because that's a unit that, besides, the Hurtgen Forest and all that shit, they don't get any credit for anything. It's the Pennsylvania National Guard. And so I have a friend, Nate, the guy that does Scuttlebutt, that's commenting in here randomly with random jabs. He does 29th Infantry Division, right? And that's a unit that was at Normandy, right? But they also did a lot more than that. So it was like, learn the history of all that shit. So yeah, I like that. Yeah, 30th Infantry Division 2. There's a bunch of guys up here, like in like Minnesota and Wisconsin, that actually do 30th Infantry Division, which I know is a North Carolina National Guard unit as well. Trust me. But like, it's weird that they do it up here, but it's pretty cool. So go to Basra instead, but not in the summer. Yeah, I'm not planning on going to Iraq anytime soon. So the Finnish MO5 family of camouflages, it's good. It's okay. It works for their environments specifically. It works okay up here in Wisconsin, but How much money have I estimated that I spent on all my shit? I don't know. It's been 20 years. I don't keep track of that shit. Like, how much have you spent on food in the past 20 years? We'll just put it that way. I'm doing some bidding shit and then clearing out junk mail, of course. It's always fun. Yeah, all right. Oh, cool. Nice junk mail. Your sex life title. She needs you and your jackhammer. Oh, she does she? Fucking God. Fucking junk mail, man. Yeah, 28th. That's why I say, yeah, 28th is that's a hell of a unit. They got their asses kicked in that whole time frame of like December to January. They got fucking destroyed. The Hurtgen Forest is actually worse than Bastogne, but nobody hears about that because Patton and the 101st wasn't involved. The Hurtgen Forest was absolutely atrocious and fucked up for everyone involved. Way worse. And it just never gets any credit or any attention. What's a cool unit to do reenactment if you're starting out? I don't know. Do some research on a history of a unit that you like and you think is cool, wherever you want to do it, Pacific or ETO, and then you make that decision. Like, I would stay away from 101st or 82nd. Well, mainly 101st, because everybody wants to do that because they see Band of Brothers or Saving Private Ryan or both. Pick a unit that like did shit. Like, I like the 9th Infantry Division. It's fun. The 36th is also fun. The 45th is fun to like research, and like, but that wasn't at Normandy. So the best moments in reenactment from my 20 years. I don't know. I have to think about that one for a while. The movie's in distribution right now. That's all I know about it. So yeah, 36 at San Pietro on the winter line. That is a fucking insane battle that nobody gives a shit about. Yeah, that's really cool. So that's okay. I appreciate you doing the National Guard units that weren't, 101st and 2nd Rangers and Big Red 1. That's basically what every fucking World War II reenactment is. And it's cool to do those like lesser known units that went through the southern part, like they went through Africa, Sicily, and Italy, and southern France instead of Normandy. Normandy is like this big thing, and everybody's like, "Oh, I just want to do the Normandy units." It's like, well, there was a lot more going on than Normandy, right? So Oh, a lot of people do portray engineers. They do. That unit that I was telling you about, the 30th Infantry Division guys, they actually I forgot the battalion number, but they actually portray engineers. So it's pretty cool. People do that. The only reason I portrayed infantry when I was like doing reenacting a lot is because I actually was, and so it was cool for me to learn about the different like kind of tactics and methods that these militaries would use during different times. Even the U.S. in World War One was totally different than World War Two, and later on. And it's cool for me to do that. Now that I'm getting older, I could still probably get away with it for a few more years, but I'm going to start doing a support role, like quartermaster or mess sergeant or something like that. But like, just doing something that, or like a first sergeant where you don't really go out and fight that much, but like you're still running shit, things like that. Because I like to keep things looking as best as possible, like as close to like reality as possible. Um, but yeah, it's cool to do different units like that aren't completely mainstream and basic bitch. So yeah, so we had when I did World War One, U.S. for a couple of years. There was this guy named Ray who literally has an entire field kitchen for World War One U.S. setup. He's got the cast iron stove. He's got the tent. The like he sets up like the what we call the condiment bar, I guess, where you got like Tabasco, ketchup, mustard, and all that stuff for like your meal. And you go and you get served from him and maybe an assistant cook, and then you go and you get cookies and your sauces and whatever and then you go and eat either there or you go back to the trench and then you eat there. He has done so much. He's a chef by trade, like during the day, and so he can cook for a lot of people. He knows how to do it, but he did it so historically accurately. Like we had punch cards that we would have to present to him or somebody else. They would punch like they did in the First World War, so guys couldn't go through a second time, so it was all fair. And he had that set up so well that the public would actually go through there and be like, are you actually like giving them food? And we're like going through the chow line, right? Because we were getting fed. We would coordinate before the event and be like, yeah, hey, here's the money, go grab the food. And then he would make period correct recipes from the field manual from whatever he had. And people would be watching us like getting food in our mess kits, eating out of the mess kits and whatever. And they'd be like, of course they ask the question, is that real food? Like, are you actually, and it's like, yeah. So this is, historically accurate to this, blah, 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 and explain to the public. And they were like, wow, I've never seen this before. Like an actual like chow hall or like a, somebody getting served food. And I'm like, yeah, this is how it was. Like they would go back about 50 to 100, maybe 200 yards behind the actual line and get hot food, because the U.S. tried to get hot food to their soldiers every chance they could. They didn't like to rely on rations because A, they didn't have them, and B, it was a morale booster. And so Ray, my friend, does that and did this for years, and it was so fucking cool to be part of that experience. And we would also have like Germans that would come over with no gear on except their gas mask and their helmet, and they'd be POWs because the Americans would actually feed the POWs with the normal soldiers, the American soldiers. So that was a great impression, and people loved that. Like the public loved that. That would come to these events and like pay to actually see the reenactors and shit. It's like, yeah, you can pay to see a gun battle, but like you didn't know. And then we would get asked so many questions about the actual how food was served, how it was made, where they got the recipes, where they got the food, and all that stuff. So that was a great fucking time. I actually loved that part of World War One U.S. reenacting so much. It was so cool. And but yeah, I love the support roles being portrayed because that's how it actually fucking is. Not everybody's infantry, right? Very few people in the military or in the Army or the Marine Corps are infantry, right? Or artillery or engineers or tankers. And it's like, yeah, most of them are support to make sure those guys can fight. And so I love it when people portray like clerks and shit like that, and they go, "Yeah, that's what we would do." The public's obviously not that interested in a lot of those things because they want to see the combat and the whatever. But I think it's really important for people to keep doing those impressions because, again, like I said earlier, to keep that spark alive. Like, oh, well, maybe this was an important role. Yeah, making sure soldiers get paid. That's a huge fucking role. If they don't get paid, they get pissed. And if they get pissed, they don't do their fucking job, and it spreads throughout the company or whatever the hell unit they're in. So, yeah. Anyway, sorry, I went on kind of a tangent there, but yeah, it's definitely really cool to see things other than infantry and cavalry, you know, like combat arms in reenacting events. Any 442nd units out there? Hey, Mr. Knight, where are you located at? Are you actually Japanese? Or are you living in the U.S. but you're Japanese, like your parents are Japanese? And have I ever attempted at reenacting a special forces unit like this first special? No. I like to just portray the average Joe in an average unit doing average things. I don't like to go out and try to be a hero that I never could be, like, you know, the special forces or all that shit. I like to portray shit that I'm familiar with. That's why I said I'd like to do infantry, because I was infantry, although a lot later in 2008 to 2012, but like I don't do any of the special hardcore, you know, fucking shit that everyone else wants to do. Why are there so many SS reenactors in the USA? Because again, like what I just said, everybody wants to be the badass. Everybody wants to wear the cool clothes. Oh, we get to wear camouflage, or all the SS were so hardcore. It's like, well, that's arguable, but doing multiple different units, 325 Gliding Infantry Regiment, 82nd Airborne, 88th Infantry. That's a fucking awesome unit, dude. Yeah, that's awesome. The 88th Infantry, they went through that fucking thick of it too in Italy. They were fighting on the Gothic line with the 34th when the armistice was signed. So I just start World War II Germany, you can be as old as you want. Not true at all. You're talking about the Volkssturm at the very end. No, you can't be as old as you want. Well, no, is it real food? It wasn't army rations he was cooking. It was actual food from ingredients they would gather in like local French villages, or they would get it given to them, or somebody would say, hey, here's a bunch of cabbage and beef. And the army manual would say, if you have these ingredients, you can make these dishes for like your company. And that's how they would do that in World War One. World War One U.S. rations were called, there weren't any. They had the emergency ration, which was hardtack, some coffee, and sugar, I think. But I've made videos on this in the past, but I'll make some shorts on it eventually. Just got to figure out how to do it. They just contracted with this shitload of civilian companies to get like civilian canned goods that were like normally on shelves here to be sent over there. Alaska at that time was a territory, and they wanted to participate and like help out the war effort. So what did they get? A shit fucking ton of canned salmon, and they would send that to the guys over there, and they got sick of it because they sent so much of it. So there weren't any actual standardized U.S. rations in the First World War. So being out of Baghdad to get the chance to earn your CIB. Funny fucking story about that. I'll just say MPs. How about that? That's all I'm going to say is MPs for Tim Black. Okay, so you're in Cali. Dude, if you want to like send me a message on my Facebook, like Mike's Militaria or whatever, or like send me an email, Mike's Militaria or Mike at mikesmilitaria.com. It'd be really fucking cool. You as a Japanese guy, if you would not mind doing Imperial Japanese Army, might have something for you in the near future. So, yeah, if you want to get into reenacting and getting with a group of like hardcore but really cool guys, send me an email or message, and I can get you set up with my friends that have those connections, because we're actually looking for that right now. So. All right, so no, okay, so soldiers didn't bring Coca-Cola to battle. You would have things like the Red Cross or whatever that would give it to you in the chow line. You might be super lucky and get a Coca-Cola once in a while. You could get it behind the lines, from what I understand, but you had to pay for it. It was from the commissary, so you had to actually like pay for it. But yeah, it's got caffeine in it, but like they didn't give a shit. So does coffee. Coffee's got caffeine, and yeah, but you can also eat coffee, and you don't have to, have a glass bottle of Coca-Cola in, next to you. Yeah, so that's what I know about that. World War II U.S. rations are really interesting to me, especially being kind of a first of their kind. They weren't terrible. C rations, K rations. Yeah, that's what actually like kickstarted our fucking America's love for processed, canned, and preserved shit after the Second World War. All these canneries were making this stuff and like preserving it, sending it over. Spam came out in World War II, right? Well, it's not good quality food, right, compared to what people were eating before that, but they had to keep making money, so they started selling it as like, oh, it's convenient and all that shit. So yeah, they were not terrible. They're just like today. They're not terrible. They're not good. Not good for you specifically. So love the understand language. You should try longish videos like this set up at the moment. I have, like, my whole channel is set up with me swearing and just saying what's on my mind. Like, you must be a new sub, which is fine. I appreciate that. But like, yeah, I don't like to censor myself with that kind of shit. Like, if you're offended by strong language, okay, you can go fuck yourself. So, all right. I'm asking because I cooked every mission he was in Turkish. Well, the Turkish military is a hell of a lot different than the U.S. military in the European theater or Pacific theater in World War II. The Turkish military, you guys have a lot better supply line. You're a lot smaller. Like, the U.S. is fucking huge and the world is huge. So you have to factor that shit in there. Like, it's like, yeah. Okay. Anyway, I'll just. The military side of history. What's your favorite time period to study? I'd have to broaden it way the fuck out to the 20th century in general. I can't pick like one decade or whatever, but 20th century, even though it's very mainstream, it's very relatable and it's easy to do research on for as many things as I like to do. So took Pepsi's on missions and Monsters when available. Dude, Tim, I don't know if you were only there a year before me, but like, did you guys have fucking Rippets? Because that's what I lived on. Rippets and Shockets, or Shock, whatever the fuck, the coffee little energy 8-ounce can tall boy drink. That's what I fucking lived on, is Rippets and those coffee things. Fucking nasty. And Zam Zam, like the local Coke or whatever, that was good shit. And the actual like Kuwaiti and Saudi like Fanta, where it's like actual sugar with an actual pop top, where you have to. Yeah, that was great shit. You talking about the Cape Gloucester event? Yes, I am. So you know about Backhander. All right. They filmed the part of the movie. Let's see what's finished. Oh yeah, James, for sure. Exactly. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, all those Canadians that were like, oh yeah, we can get this, bud. We can get the Russian SKSs for $200 here, and they get the 9130s for $70, and I get the SVT 40s for $300. Yeah, they're here at every gun shop, and I'm like, yeah, fucking just wait. How's that going for you, bud? A solid way to verify military memorabilia. Jesus H. cock-sucking Christ. That's not a rabbit hole. It's a rancor hole. That's fucking. Oh, it's so hard to do that. Like, specifically with like World War II German shit, and just whatever. It's insane. There are solid ways to identify certain items, and it's ridiculously tedious and time consuming to get to learn all of them or know somebody who does. That's all I'm going to say on that. I'm not going to spend any more time. It's nothing personal. It's just that is such a fucking rabbit hole of verifying shit that it's, and people, you can get two experts that can verify something and they'll disagree with each other. And it's just like, Jesus. But anyway. Oh yeah, Chris, you fucking, well, you were there in 2009. You were in Krakistan, but like you still had rippets. Yeah. Boom, boom. Oh yeah. Fucking gross. Well, Jacqueline 647. There is a possibility I might be seeing you there then. Just throwing that out there. If you know people that are there and they'll vouch for you, that's the only way to get in. That's the thing. So, can I do some tricks with the vape? Yeah, I'll go. Is that good enough for you? No, I don't. Yet. So, also don't drop names like that in the chat. Just for reasons like I don't want creepy people like researching them and like figuring out who they are. The double dragon super fucking yeah. I don't know. Is the French Adrian better than the American M1? They're designed for different things. The Adrian's a lot lighter, but the shape, I guess, if you go to the Daily Mail, they did a study or daily, whatever fucking, somebody did a study a while, like not that far back, where they had like concussive blasts that were from the top. And this, because of the spine on it, actually deflects it down and around. So it reduces concussive force. The M1 does not do that. The Stahlhelm doesn't do that. Modern helmets don't do that. So for that, maybe, but no, it's not a great helmet at all. All right, it looks like I have a guest that wants to come on, a very regular guest. For those new subscribers, you'll get to know him pretty quick. But I'm gonna go take another piss. I've been drinking this shit all day. It's French, so, or the name is French. It's American sparkling water, mineral water, whatever the fuck you guys call it. But yeah, I'll be back on in a little bit. It'll be about 5 minutes. I have returned, my blossom, a changed bee. All right. Yes, Rusty, it is. Oh, you guessed it. Yes, he will keep yapping about Canada's superior. Yeah, well, I don't think so anymore. His spirit's been broken. You know, his queen died, so. Okay. Oh wait, I gotta put on headphones for this. I'll be back in a sec. I know. It's not as historically accurate because I got the headphones on, but hey, we'll give her the old college try. But yeah, the guest will be on pretty damn soon. And what the fuck is a Team Wendy high cut with some futuristic ear pro? Let's see. Team. Yeah. So fucking, yeah. Of course. Be right back one more time and then we'll be good. All right, I'm back. I suppose I should send our guest the link. All right. Do I have any Turkish equipment from any era? Yes, I have several Turkish slash, well, most of them are Turkish, but some Ottoman Mauser rifles. I've got Turkish slash Ottoman ammo pouches, like the 3-cell Mauser pouches. I had a gendarmerie uniform, the like newer one, the ATAX looking one. That's actually better than ATAX in my opinion. And I think that's about it. But I love the rifles. The rifles are so underrated here. They're very good. So wear a post Vietnam helmet, M1 helmet selling for $60. Dude, everything. Again, like I was just saying earlier, everything from like the 60s on back is collectible now. It's really not surplus. Hasn't been for a long time. It's accurate. They had Airbuds version 1 back then. Okay, cool. Then we're good. It's not historically inaccurate then. I put in my favorite rifle. I'm a fellow collector. Yes, exactly. You end up liking different things about each rifle, and that's kind of what drives your obsession to get different things. Correct. Could not have said it better myself. So yeah, Shafty, that's an excellent way to put it, and that's with any kind of like gear or whatever. It's insane. So, is that any Hungarian gear? Yeah, I've got a few odds and ends. Got Hungarian helmets, of course, because that's what I collect. I've got a PA Hungarian with the Hungarian version of the high power. I think it's the PA-63 or some shit like that. I forgot. I obviously can't touch it on the live pistol. And I have a Hungarian. Oh, I've got the Hungarian like M49 camouflage shelter halves. I got a few of those. Those are fun. I love Hungarian shit. It's fun. And then yeah, I've got. Oh, that isn't. Yeah, I've got the Hungarian, or is that Italian? No, it's Italian. No, I have a Hungarian jacket, like a camouflage M49 camouflage jacket. So. Why did the M1 helmets lose the front straps, the liner straps of Vietnam? Because they were pointless. They were useless and they got in the way. It was just extra shit that they had to make and spend money on, and they got sick of doing that. It didn't help at all. It was just, again, what I just said. So Turkish Mausers truly are underrated. I mean, a lot of them are made in Germany. Yeah, the 1903s and before were made in Germany, from what I understand. And then the Ankara rifles that were made in like 38 on. Great. And my favorite variant is the ATF, which I forgot what the hell it stands for, but it's basically like they're like Presidential Guard or like some elite unit like that. And they made all of those off of Gewehr 98 receivers. And they are the fucking primo Turkish Mauser. And I finally got one back in my collection from Empire Arms last year. So that's my favorite variant of the Turkish Mauser. The M38, great rifle. I like the M1903s that got converted into the like I guess 34, 38 version in the 30s, because I like the teardrop bolt shape. I really like that a lot. So, oh, Chris, you have a Hungarian 48M. You have two of them. We should work out a trade. Like maybe I can. Well, I don't know if I can say that on a stream. Rather, I just said I don't censor myself, but I also don't want the stream to get zapped because. Got a guest coming on, so but yeah, I really would like to have one of those someday. It's not like a fucking bucket list thing, but it's like, yeah, they're fucking cool. So yeah, Turkish Mauser is underrated to a point. That's a lot of people think Ottomans didn't make any rifles and clean equipment and that they bought them from Central Powers. No, they bought some shit. Like they bought helmets from the Central Powers. They bought some machine guns, some ammo, but their rifles had been being made in Germany from 1889 or 1890 was it on? Oh, the Guido shit.
Come on now.
All right. We're enemies, but I'll tolerate you for this stream.
Oh, okay, good. I did dress up. Come on.
Hey, you got the 16 uniform. Nice. I like it.
I do have the 16 uniform. I almost have all of them now.
Yeah.
I'm just.
Dude, you're so lucky. You're so lucky you got that fucking pipe gray one from me when you did, because shortly after
they're gone now.
Yeah, it's done. But like, I'm glad I have that one too. So,
now I just have like 70 hours of sewing to do on both of them to make.
Oh yeah, I see. It's like basic, yeah, but whatever. Who gives a fuck?
It's going to be so much fucking sewing to do.
Yeah. So, it's all right, though. I mean, it looks good.
Yeah.
So it looks like it fits you very well. So.
Well, it better. It was expensive and tailored. So.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's like, get your company tailored to fucking, do it for you. And the hat looks good. Did you get that from Czech Republic?
Yep.
That's what I figured.
The whole thing. It's very nice. For the price that I paid, I wish the wool quality was a little bit more. But it's still fairly nice wool, but just not quite what I was expecting. It's a little bit thinner than I would have liked.
Well, dude, to be fair though, the Austrian uniforms at that point were very shitty.
True.
Like very, really shitty.
But this is supposed to be like the early 1916 uniform.
It doesn't. Well, dude, they were
before they got before they
fucked.
got super bad. So like they still had
The
liners on the shit and stuff rather than being like just the wool. So like they still cared that much. But
I mean, that was when they were starting to they were fucked.
Yeah, 1916 was like cardboard shoes were starting to be a thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not good. So yeah, I've just been answering questions. It's a fun stream. I've gotten a shitload of new subs. So I figured we might as well just.
Oh yeah, I've been watching all your shorts.
Dude, people love them, and they're fun. They're fun to do. But like I was telling people earlier, it's hard for me to be a long-winded, rambly, long-form kind of.
And now that they're monetizable, the shorts are actually worth doing.
Right, and it actually reaches people. The thing is but it's hard to condense all that shit into 1 minute.
Yeah.
Or less, and it's so I've had to learn how to do that, and I'm still not good at it, but it's getting more like a pattern. I can tell when I'm filming before I even start what needs to be said
and how long it takes.
How do I say it? There's so many outtakes where I'm just rambling, and I'm like, fuck, nope, stop.
Yep,
nope,
too much.
Doesn't matter. Too much. Yep. And it's cool because now it'll get more people interested. But I was talking about earlier on the stream, I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. You know that. You've known that for whatever.
You do know how to do a lot of stuff. Yeah.
A lot of shit, but I go about the most I'll go into a subject is 40%. I'll dig in about 40%, and then I'll back out and be like, ooh, this is interesting. And then, and so if I can teach people about something that creates a spark, and they go, well, I want to do more research. I'll Google this or do more videos or whatever. That's cool. So yeah, the short form is actually working out quite well. And, but yeah, I've gotten a lot of new subs, which is great. And, I wanted to just kind of say hi to people and shit like that. And, Chris Jones is watching, of course.
Of course he is.
Fucking God, what a clown. But,
he's a great guy. Come on now.
Let me just answer these couple questions. Do I have a Type 99 Arasaka? Yes, that was my first rifle that I ever got, and I was 12 years old. My dad bought it, but I actually bought it from my great uncle, who had his friend bring it back from the Pacific in World War II. And I will never get rid of that rifle. If it's you're homeless or you've got a rifle to carry around, I'll carry around the rifle.
That's true. It'd be weird. It'd be cooler though if it came from Europe.
How the fuck would it come from Europe?
Because you just specified it came from the Pacific. I was like, duh.
No, but his friend brought home 2 of them, right?
Yeah.
And one of them had it had the monopod, the AA sight. It was very early.
Oh yeah,
mine's an early one too, but it was stripped, right?
Oh, it was reworked, yeah.
And the other one had the mum, and he gave it to his one of his kids.
Understandable.
Which is it's fine, but I still got that one, and that I will cherish it forever. I've shot it. It's fucking awesome, insanely accurate, and for as light and short as those rifles are, for a 7.7 by 58, they don't recoil that much.
I agree. And
have you ever shot one?
I have.
Yeah, it's I don't know how the fuck it works.
It's because they based it off the 7.7 by 56 rimmed.
Yeah, but dude, seriously, physically, if we're talking physics here, that short and light of a rifle shooting that big of a cartridge should pound the fuck out of your shoulder. But it doesn't, and I don't know why.
Because it's so inline, unlike a lot of other rifles. If you look at it stock wise, the stock's so much straighter than it is on a lot of other bolt guns, and the sights are just a little taller. The receiver's just a little taller.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it whatever, but it's. I mean, you shoot an Enfield, you shoot a number 1 Mark III or number 4 Mark 1 or 2.
Yep.
It's got some buck to it, right?
Yeah, it's the whole butt plate. It's that rounded cupped butt plate bullshit.
Well, okay, so a K98. Well, it's heavier though. It's heavier,
but it's a flatter butt plate, so you get more distribution of the force. Whereas if you look at all the Enfields, they're all butt plates are curved. It's the same reason why the M95, the Austrian M95s hurt to shoot, because the butt plates are all curved. So those two fucking bolts where the butt plate is held in is where all of the recoil goes. And those two bolts are where all of that force hits you. And it's just so much force focused into two tiny little spots. Or if you're holding your rifle like shit, one tiny little spot, and that's why it hurts.
That's the thing, I think. Yeah, because you're right. With the smooth butt plate, with the top screw and the bottom screw that's flush, you don't get, even if you hold it a little bit wrong. Yeah.
You get much more distribution of force. And I tell people that, I'm like, you got to really suck that fucker in, or otherwise you're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah. And it's just insane. Like the Type 99 is one of the best bolt action rifles I think ever made.
Yeah.
It might be controversial to say that, but I from my experience, I've shot, and you've shot a shitload of old surplus rifles. The Type 99 is one of the easiest rifles to handle and shoot continuously.
Well, it's got a lot of the stuff that I like about the VZ24. Straight bolt handle. Okay. It's shorter, it's handier, but the cool thing is, unlike the VZ24, it is light.
It's very light. I mean,
and it has
that's why you would think it would have more recoil.
Yeah.
You would think.
You would think, but it also has the nice peep sights and the very, very good battle sights, because it's got the big chunky front sight.
They're good for 300 yards in, because Henry from Night Horror Reviews said that, like, when he was doing his video, like, once you get out past like 300, it gets really hard with the barleycorn and the barrel mounted fucking the long eye relief, basically the sight, the peep sight. He says it gets very hard, but it's like, well, it's not a target rifle. The U.S. made target rifles.
Yeah, the Japanese were very smart at what they did. Their rifle was not going to shoot past 300 yards. And if it was meant to shoot past 300 yards, they put a scope on it.
Right. So and that's I love the Type 99. I know I've fucking beat that question to shit. Let's scroll up. But yeah, it's I love that rifle. It's so good.
Very well designed.
Chris is saying he's a loser, and I agree.
I disagree.
No, I agree. He's from
Crunchy, though. On the other hand, he's a loser. I'm just
kidding. Yeah. Chris, he's from Eastern Tennessee, so he's a loser by all means. But
no, it depends on how many sisters he's banged. That's how you measure winning there.
We'll never know. He'll never admit it, because he probably can't keep track. Like, let's.
Gosh.
Yeah. Woof. Yeah. But blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah. Yes, the Crunchy's in here, of course.
Yeah, that's why I said it.
Fucking. Anyone complain about a 30 caliber ish bolt action is a pussy? You've never shot a fucking M44 then, or an M38 carbine.
Yeah. Or one of those M95 Stutzens.
That's not 30 caliber.
A lot of people consider it 30 caliber, even though it's technically.
I know it's 323, but like I mean, it's not a 30. It's not a 308 diameter.
It's the same thing. Like, a lot of people consider the fucking Mauser a 30 caliber rifle, even though it's technically a 32. Yeah, it's like a 31 point. Yeah, 8. But like a lot, it's like.
Or no, 323 is the later one. 318 was the Gewehr 88. I'm sorry.
Yes, so it's technically a 32 caliber rifle, basically. Because there always is some kind of leeway based on the.
Crunchy has never fucking fired an M44, M38, or a Stutzen.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
Those
they're just not pleasant. Like,
they're not.
You can do it, but you pay for it.
Yeah, you do pay for it, and unfortunately, it's one of those guns. Like, no matter how well you know how to shoot, all right, it's not like a target rifle. So everyone's like, you can't hit a 1,000-yard target with like an M95 or an M44.
You can.
You can if you're.
But you're gonna flinch.
Yeah. But like, also, it's like, it's one of those guns where you just hand people and they're like, get through 5 rounds. While you're drinking, and then you wake up in the morning and you're like,
You got a big old fucking purple spot.
You go to like reach for something and you're like,
Yeah, not good.
Yeah.
So Crunchy is okay. He says, how do you know if a Southern girl is a virgin if she can run faster than her brothers? Oops. I'm just reading the comments that were in here. I'm just reading the comments, but I don't disagree.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not from the South, but I have had to visit a couple times, which is nice.
Yeah, so you get it. But the 4570 lever action with a 405 grain bullet, pay for it. Yeah.
No, because they make black powder 4570.
Well, okay, yeah, black powder.
Much more pleasant to shoot.
It's a push. So, it's not a fucking straight recoil back. Yeah.
So disagree. Science.
Yeah, Crunchy's just he's trying too hard today. He's just trying so hard and it's just not working.
Because I will say, like, I have run some of those nice, like, basically smokeless. They're considered black powder, but there's such a complete burnout of them, because technology's come so far. They do make those like white smoke black powder cartridges that are for all intents and purposes smokeless in like a modern day handles smokeless powder 4570. Awesome. Absolute dream to shoot.
Yeah.
So.
But it's also, like you said, it's a black powder cartridge and it's like, it's a push. It's like, it's a push. Cause like when I shot my Beaumont Vitale several years ago, even as a centerfire, like self-contained cartridge, it handles like a musket.
Yeah.
Like the push is like, it's not a recoil per se. It's not like that sharp, that snap, it's just kind of a push. And it's like, okay, I can do this all day.
It's true. Like
even though you're slinging out a 450 fucking grain bullet, it's like
true. You're just not gonna throw it as far, but it's so much pleasant. Like Kong thought that like when we went out shooting, that shooting my Wurndl was going to be the most painful rifle of the whole day. I'm like, no, you have no idea how much more pleasant this gun is going to be compared to everything else. For one, it weighs 2 pounds more than everything else, and for two, it's black powder. So as long as you could pull the trigger, it'll be fine.
That's like a Martini Henry. Like when I shot that thing a few years ago, I was like, okay, so let's be honest here. Like that was actually one of the more snappy black powder rifles that I've shot. But it still was it was like a fast push. It wasn't.
Yeah.
If I already quit it, it was like instead of just being a push, it was a fast push.
Yeah.
I could still shoot that fucker all day.
Well, so many of those Martini Henrys though were used so late. You know what I mean? And they had so much ammo development come out so late, and a lot of the cartridges you can get now and a lot of the reloading specs you can get now are actually based off of the last Martini Henry cartridge.
Oh, sure, yeah. So I'm sure the first ones were not as good.
Well, yeah, because you see Martini Henrys in use until like the mid 1890s.
Yeah.
Which and then
it's like any rifle. It's like they're going to issue to reservists and like
that's like still in the British. And then you look at like the Indian Army and like other countries, where they had them until like the 40s. With the same ammo still. So it was just, it's one of those where it was such a late black powder gun that you're going to get a little bit more performance out of it than the earlier ones.
Yeah. So it's fun. Like the Martini Henry, but like that being said, again, it's still very pleasant to shoot.
It is a very pleasant gun to shoot.
It's insanely easy. Like
and
I
it's
get
also
why
lighter than a lot of other black powder guns.
Oh yeah, so, it is because like the Beaumont Vitale is heavier.
It's a heavy bitch. Most black powder rifles, even like the repeating ones, like the late ones, are big heavy bitches.
Yeah, like the Mauser 1871. I've held one. I've never shot one or owned
like
one.
A 9 to 10 pound rifle in the end of the black powder era was pretty light. Yeah. So, nowadays that is like holy fuck, because a lot of guns, even towards like the World War II era, seeing an 8-pound service rifle was pretty heavy.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean it's very fun, but I think the Type 99 is like one of the most pleasant center fire like smokeless powder rifles, and also the 1886-93. You shot mine. What did you think of that fucker?
That thing is awesome to shoot, and I think a lot of what makes it so pleasant to shoot is it is like the best black powder gun, because it's a black powder gun that can use smokeless, basically, is what it is.
Yep.
It is a gorgeous gun to shoot because it is so long and it is so heavy and it does have such a long sight radius, even though it is a long eye relief gun, because it does have,
I like the French just because they're small, very small.
Well, yeah, because they were all precise. The minimum sight adjustment is like 450 yards, basically. Yep. It's like,
But yeah, when you
Okay,
flip
I
it
see
forward
what
though,
we're
it's
expecting
200.
here.
It's 200 meters. You know.
Yeah.
And
Oh
it's
yeah,
like,
because you have the battle sight all the way forward.
but then it gets smaller because it's like, well, it's going to be closer so you can see it.
Mhm.
And then the longer distance ones, it's like, well, we're going to give you more to line up the front sight with. It's just
agree.
fucking love. Yeah, I showed you. I acquired a couple weeks ago or several weeks ago now a Berthier from Matt from Floodbusters. We traded some guns.
Did you give him like Turkish Mausers for it? I know he loves.
I gave him one Turkish Mauser. I gave him an 1893 34.
Okay, good.
And
good.
And a 9130, a nice,
Yep.
a decent, like a wartime
Yeah.
reefer, whatever. We traded those two, and then I got the. Obviously, I can't do it on the live stream, but like, so I do have one of those now, and I haven't shot one of those in years. So next time you come down here or
They
whatever,
handle a lot like the Lebel.
I know they do. I know they
They're
do.
just much easier to reload.
Yes, they are. They are. And that's the thing is, I want to make a video on that of like, you know, side by side, you and I, like, you could probably have my neighbor videotape this of like, all right, let's shoot 10 rounds each. You'll get your first 8 off very quick.
True.
With the Lebel. But even with the 3-round end blocks, I'm going to win.
Maybe, yeah.
You know, no, I think I will because
you're going to have a lot more reloads, but if you can if you get the 2 in your fingers, like you're once
you get out of the tube meg, you have to single load that shit.
Yeah, but it's
and
only
accurately
2.
Place the shot. Well, we'll see.
Doesn't make up for 4 reloads is what the math is.
We'll see. So, we'll see. It's gonna be a fun fucking video anyway.
It is gonna be a fun video.
It's gonna be a fun one because we'll do it a couple times.
Yeah,
and we'll see. And but yeah, the Berthier, that should have come out in the 1890s, in my opinion.
It did come out in the 1890s.
No, I mean it should have been okay. It should have been adopted in the 1890s.
It did get adopted in literally 1890s.
The carbines, yes, but I'm talking for like frontline infantry rifles, and also they didn't have the rifles until 07. So they had the carbines.
Well, that's not true either, but
okay.
The 1905 like Senegalese version actually is what they based the 1907 version off because they literally just stretched they literally just put a Lebel barrel.
And they had
and that's so like they made it specifically for the Senegalese troops, and it was only supposed to go to Senegalese because it had
the bent carbine handle on it. Yes.
And all it was a carbine that they screwed a Lebel barrel into. That's all it was. And
sure.
Then they gave it.
What I'm saying is they should have in the 1890s issued their military the Lebel with a fucking full length, or I'm sorry, the Berthier with a full length Lebel barrel.
I agree.
Yes.
So
they should have because it was superior, and they also should have had the 5-round end block.
Yep. You don't see the carbines with the 5-round end blocks until
16.
After. Well,
no, 16 is when you see that. Yep. Because the rifles and the carbines were updated in 16 to hold those.
Started to, but you don't ever. And if you can find one, find me one, because for a fact you will not ever see a 5-round carbine make it to any pictures of actually during World War I.
No,
they did not make it to lines until after the armistice.
I've never seen a rifle make it there either.
No, so they made it. You can see very late pictures right at the end.
If you can find one eventually, like not right now, of course, but like I've never seen a picture of a 5-round like an M16 making it to the front and being in pictures. Even
they have documents of it making 2 front lines in northern Belgium.
Yeah, so but you have to
3 months before the end of the war.
Yeah, not everybody had a camera back then too. But like
but but that's the theory. The paperwork is that here's the shipments and they go into lines.
There's a few hundred of them.
Before the end of the war, but like you don't see any carbines till after the war with the 5-round upgrade.
Oh, absolutely. No, 100%. But like, it's the Berthier, I think, is the superior rifle to the Lebel, like the actual 1886.
Well, there's a reason why in 1916 they started changing it so much to be more Lebels were being made and shipped to the front than because in 1916 they stopped. Yeah, that's what I meant. In 1916, I get it. Yeah, in 1916 they stopped producing Lebels. They only did repair and rearsenal projects. They kept making
16.
Yeah, 16 was when they stopped producing new Lebels.
Yep.
They did keep one armory. I forget which one it was. because there was the big 3 French ones. One of them was set up to just keep retrofitting and repairing labels because they obviously couldn't just get rid of them. And then it was, everybody was making more Berthiers because it was a much better gun for World War I than the Lebel was. So.
Here's a good comment. I'm still looking for a picture of the 1897 trench gun actively being used in the trenches.
Because
you're not going to find one because they weren't. Oh my God. So, it's on my old computer. Shit. I have to transfer all my files. So I was talking to James Gregory, who we've done a podcast with, and he's been on, I think he was on a live stream, maybe not.
Is that one of the ones where he like just talked and they didn't show his face or whatever?
No. He's the one that wrote the other 16 about the York
incident.
Okay.
And about how he definitely used the Springfield, right?
Right. And so he actually found the original paperwork that said the trench gun was actually like the actual trench gun, not shotguns, because shotguns were issued widely by the U.S. to MPs and people that were rear echelon guys that were guarding
shotguns were actually pretty common to see in most U.S. units in the 1880s, actually.
Right. And then, but in World War I, it was like, so frontline service, you got 5 rounds. That's why they came out with the heat shield and the bayonet, and they shortened it up. They're like, okay. So they were issued to the 32nd, 42nd, 82nd, and there was like 1 or 2 other divisions. Anyway, I don't have the thing. I can't pull it up right now. I have to plug my laptop in and go through that.
And they weren't liked, and they didn't do super hot because
because he's got the feedback. Well, no. The brass ones they used, they
did have brass ones.
Yep. But at first, the cardboard swelled because it would get moisture in it, and then it didn't work. But then when they started issuing brass hulls, it worked great. And so, but I do have the original paperwork, and I did actually post this on a video.
You did make a whole video on this.
Yeah. And so, if you look at it, they actually got the feedback from each division as well. Like, I think the 77th might have been another one. They're like very effective, this and that, hard to reload, blah blah blah. Didn't like it because of this, and this, and so they got all this feedback. There was not every unit had a fucking trench gun, and it was a battalion asset. So when it was tried in the field, it was a battalion asset. So with a battalion, you've got at that point like 7 or 8 companies, right? And you had to specifically draw out the trench gun for a purpose. Like if you were going on a trench raid or you're doing an assault or whatever, you had to requisition one, and then the battalion supply would kind of decide who got it and who needed it more.
Yeah, and it obviously worked so good that they didn't have to develop a Peterson device and a Thompson and a BAR.
Right. Well, also government contractors during wartime.
Money. Of course. Oh, you're telling me the United States goes to war for not monetary reasons, Mike? Is that what you're trying to convince me?
It's fucking incredible, right?
I know, right? That's totally never happened. Never once in the whole United States history. The government has never done anything bad.
Yeah, and
in case they're watching,
that's why you're not going to find. Basically, I have never seen a picture of an 1897 being used in combat because they were used in combat. And you don't see a lot of, I've seen, out of every bit of combat footage and photographs that I've seen in World War I, quote unquote combat footage, about less than 1% of them are actually in combat or in a combat
Or
zone.
they're like, hey, it's in a front line setting, and it's a guy sitting at like a prison camp, like literally 20 miles behind
or
the
a training camp, or
it's or some guy in Missouri. It's like, here he is in the trenches, and it's like a mock trench in the middle of the fucking rural United States, like.
Absolutely. So it's that's why you're never going to see that, and that's why it's a total misconception that they were used. They were not even used that widely. That's the thing. And the Germans didn't like them because when they were used, yes, if you can get one guy that's got this fucking shotgun with 5 rounds in it, with buckshot loaded, facing down a trench with a shitload of enemy, there's going to be some damage done.
There is going to be some damage done. But the problem is you don't get the penetration either down a trench. So you get like 7, 8 guys. And now you got to reload this fucking thing.
Well, that's why you had the bayonet.
Goddamn slow.
That's why you had the 1917 bayonet lug.
Yep.
So you can attach a bayonet. And it's like, or just drop it and fucking, but you don't want to drop it because it's a battalion asset. So you sling it and then you grab your 1917 revolver or your
and you have to
1911.
really hope you have friends in the trench with you.
Yeah.
And like, there's a lot of factors that it turns out to be not as good when you actually look at it.
And it wasn't like these guys like that. They make it seem like these guys just, they would have like a fucking
and they would just
wave
shoot
of these
it
guys.
and 100 people would die down the trench line.
Well, they also made it seem like there was a wave of these guys that would just go into the trench and just fucking decimate everything. It's like, no, they had like 1 or 2 guys per company.
Yeah.
Of over 200 guys at that point.
Well, like everyone else also had assault troops and raiding night troops that managed to decimate whole parts of the line without a shotgun, with fucking chair legs, with nails in them.
Chair legs, grenades, and pistols.
Yeah, like it's so much more
32 caliber
effective.
Pistols.
Yeah, so much more effective and lighter and easier to maneuver than a shotgun. So the shotgun's not that great, but a lot of people take it where it was like the Germans were like, we're going to execute everybody that has a shotgun. Meanwhile, they're like, we're going to put fire on people.
Right, but they actually, so James and I, like, we were talking about that whole thing being a trope. They're actually, the Germans did write a letter to Geneva and said that the use of shotguns, they actually, we found this out. It's cruel and unusual. It's not good. As they're using fucking gas and flamethrowers and whatever else.
Everything else that is
but they
much
literally
more heinous.
Sent a letter and said that if we find anybody with these, their life will be considered forfeit. So that's where this whole thing became like, oh, if they found it, execute them. Yeah, well, they probably would have. But again, there were so few of them used. If you captured a guy, maybe there was like a couple instances of, oh, they see a guy with a shotgun, they captured him, they killed him. Okay. A couple out of
2 in the entire war.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, several million people going at it. You get 2 instances. But again, just like gas, right? Yeah. Gas accounted for less than 1% of all casualties in the First World War, but it's the most psychologically damaging weapon that was used.
Yep.
Because of the effects and everything and just the idea of it. Same with the shotgun. It's like, oh, everybody had, the Americans had these shotguns. It's like very fucking few of them had them.
And why did the Germans get all the shit for gas? Because they didn't start it.
No, the French started. Or no,
the French started it.
Was it was the French. The French started it, and then I can't remember. It was 1915, of course, but like
they had tear gas grenades they were using.
Well, right, yeah, they had that,
and then the Germans made the gas canisters because Germany was the best chemical country in the world.
Yeah, they had Krupp and whatever, and so
Bayer aspirin.
Steel.
That's the people that made most of the Bayer chemicals were the people that made pretty much all of the gas.
Gas attack, besides the tear gas grenades, was in 1915 against Canadian troops, actually. Mm-hmm. And it was like a really bad tear gas. So it had like more effects than like CS would. But it wasn't like necessarily lethal. It was
the actual first lethal gas attack was against French Senegalese troops.
By the Germans?
Yep, by the Germans.
And then the French came out with this awesome gas called phosgene, which is
actually the worst gas of World War.
Everybody's like mustard gas. Yeah, it's a vesicant. Yeah, you get it on your skin. It's fucked, but it also is very hard to deploy, and it really depends on the wind. Phosgene, the fucked up part about that, and I think why initially gas got like such a reputation of being psychologically damaging is because phosgene, you're exposed to it, people are like, oh, I smell hay.
It smells like grass, which isn't that uncommon of a smell,
And then all of a sudden, within 48 hours, you see guys just like dying of, like, it's like pneumonia on steroids.
Yeah, their lungs start to disintegrate, their skin starts to blister, their eyes start to bleed.
But it doesn't happen right away.
No,
and that's the biggest fucking. So you get paranoid. You're like, shit, did I just get exposed to that? Fuck, you know, and then
you start to give yourself like placebo effect and the
nocebo, and that's phosgene was terrible, and that's actually accounted for like of that 1% of gas casualties,
the vast majority
60 or 70% was phosgene.
Yeah,
because the Germans started using it too. It was like disgusting.
They use heinously good at chemicals. Best chemical development country in the world. Like most of the chemicals in the world actually. At the time of the early, 20th century, were developed in Germany. They were so ahead in pharmaceuticals and so ahead in like chemical technology and everything that's why Bayer still fucking exists. Is like that's where Bayer got its like limelight for making shit. Like the aspirin company. They developed a lot of the gas that you hear about and manufactured a lot of the gas that you hear about in World War One and
also
shit
another
in
company,
World War II.
Do you know another company that did that for the Americans? DuPont.
Yeah, well, of course DuPont did. They're one of the best American companies. They've never done anything
great war
bad, Mike. I won't have you ever talk bad about stuff DuPont has ever done. How dare you, sir?
Yeah, it's fucking insane. But yeah,
and they still exist. They're not small or anything.
No. Fucking Christ. But yeah, it's insane to think about that. But yeah, it's World War I was fucked up for many different reasons. And that's like the short I made today, like, is about the fucking stats of the Adrian helmet being issued.
Yeah, and it's like issued more than any other Allied helmet.
Well, no, you didn't see it. I was talking about the whole, like, when the head injuries reported went up 75%, and the high command was like, "What the fuck did we just spend all this money for?" They're like,
"Oh, all those people used to be dead."
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. That was the greatest thing where you read about that, where the high command is like, "We spent all of this money giving everybody helmets, and there's just more injuries," and they had to be like, "Oh, those people used to be dead."
Yes. Your fatalities are way down.
Yeah. Oh.
But your head injuries are way up. Ooh. Yeah. Okay.
They're living at least.
So somebody's got a fucking gash in their head. They got stitches. They're going to recover and go back to the front. Versus
they don't have a head
cut through. Yeah. Yeah. You know, they had a fucking lobotomy from a piece of fucking fragment. So
that's right.
It's like, yeah, it's a really fun fact. And then there was a similar one in World War II about the bomber wings. Like, they started armoring them, and they're like, "Why are there so much more bullet holes in the wings?" It's like, well, because those planes would have gone down.
Yeah,
like they would have been a fucking loss.
Yeah,
we can repair the holes. We can't repair a fucking plane that's disintegrated.
Slap some more tin over it and get it back out there.
Right. So.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it's just like, Jesus. But again, it's those fuckers that they sit in their fucking ivory towers.
It's the paper pushers, the people that don't do anything.
The ivory towers sitting back there going, "I'm looking at stats with no context. What the fuck? I'm too stupid to understand this, but I have prestige. I have rank. You need to fix this problem." Well, it's not a problem. We just fixed the fucking problem.
Yeah. My papa is a senator.
Yep. Yeah, it's just fucking... I mean, it never ends. Like, it's just it's the same thing.
It keeps going. It's been the same game, same cycle.
Been the same game
Still
forever.
The same thing today.
Yep.
So, except DuPont makes a lot cooler shit now.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, Kevlar's pretty nice.
Well, right, and that was developed by a woman, which is fun.
Who worked for DuPont.
Yep, who worked for DuPont, and that's why it's licensed and trademarked.
By DuPont.
DuPont, yep.
That's why you have to have the little R whenever you put Kevlar in the comments now, or they get mad at you.
Whoops.
Yep. No, for reals, like they.
I know, but like I haven't been nailed for it yet. Knock on wood.
Yeah, it's I had one get claimed because I didn't put the little registered symbol behind Kevlar because it's a registered thing as owned by DuPont. So.
Yeah. Whatever, it is what it is. Like,
until I think this year's 40 years.
Woo, they'll probably renew it.
Yeah, so.
I mean, it's using so much shit. Police fucking body armor, military body armor everywhere around the world.
Tires.
Gloves. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's like, I mean, it's a cool invention. Like, it's a cool discovery.
Yeah, it was made to make tires lighter and cheaper. So that way they didn't have to put wires in them anymore.
And then, oh, shit, we can make armor out of this.
That's right. We can stop using phone books.
Well, it's funny, too, because, like, there's a lot of new subscribers or new just people just commenting of, like, yeah, well, modern steel helmets aren't designed to stop bullets because they don't perform any better than steel helmets. It's like, or modern Kevlar helmets or composite helmets. And I'm like, have you not seen any of the ballistic tests that are on my channel?
But even then, those are still technically like.
No, I know they're not made to defeat bullets and like direct hits, but they do a lot better than steel.
They do.
Like, because you and I have both been out there on the range, and most steel helmets get cracked pretty quick in the pistol line.
Yeah, they usually make it to like 45, which is like the third bullet. That's usually the one where we start seeing failures.
Yeah, so. And it's like there's been some composite helmets that I've shot that are just like fucking ridiculously bad.
Yeah.
But most of the composite helmets that we've shot, like even the Slovenian T91. Yep. It's super thin, and I was like, yeah, it's a Gen 1 fucking composite helmet. But it's still like that did really good. And then
takes everything up to the Tokarev. Most of the composite helmets we shot take everything up to the Tokarev, but the Tokarev is literally a body armor killer. It's literally a body armor.
Well, dude, did the M89, the Yugo one, did that actually? Because that was made in Macedonia, but like
I think it went through one side, but
I think it. Yeah, I don't remember. I still have that one because the 45 is stuck in it. And you're like, just keep this one. I'm like, yeah, I will.
That was pretty cool where we could literally see
it totally defeated the 45. There was no dent or anything. It just sunk into the layers and it was like still exposed. I'm like, that's pretty fucking impressive, man.
That's cool.
Yeah, and it's like and that was a straight on hit. So, but most composite helmets that we've tested, like let's be honest, they perform a lot better than steel.
Tons better. There's a reason why that's what countries use now.
Yes, correct.
They don't just use it for no reason. Because if steel was better, Kevlar would not be as widespread as it.
Somebody rebutted that in the comments and said that's why most militaries still use steel helmets or something like that. And the guy didn't reply, but it's like
I think the only country that actually has like somewhat of a military that still uses a steel helmet as their primary helmet is Turkey.
They use the M1 or something?
Yeah, they have the M1. The M1 is their primary helmet still.
So Chris just said his helmet deflected multiple rounds in Afghanistan. Did you have to turn yours in? Because one of my friends that I was in basic with was also 4th ID.
I'm keeping it.
Don't remember the brigade. Well, no, he went to go turn it in to get a new one, and he almost got charged for it because his supply NCO was a fucking douchebag. And then he got his first sergeant, and then his first sergeant went down and lit his supply sergeant's ass up and said,
"Fight it.
Yeah, you never leave the fucking fob. You're a fucking whatever." This guy, because basically my buddy was he was a gunner on a fucking Humvee or a 115, 1115, and they got ambushed, and he got an AK round through the side of it, and it followed the layers around and blew out the other side, but knocked his ass out. He was down. They thought he was dead because he was bleeding and everything, and he was alive. I mean, he's still alive. I still talk to him. Like, and so it saved his life. And it's like, I've heard of a lot of stories like that. And some stories where it's like, yeah, it went through. It's all about the angle, the distance, whatever. Yep. You get lucky. But here's the thing is, if my buddy wouldn't have been wearing his helmet, he'd be toast. Like, I mean, fucking completely, because it was right in the side of your head, right above his ear.
And it goes, and we've seen that before in some of our ballistic tests where it comes in at an angle where it looks like it should go right through, and it goes around the layers
and it's on the other side of the fucking helmet.
Yeah,
it's like what the hell?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really interesting. Like that's why I made videos on like, are helmets actually an important asset to like a combat scenario? Yes. A, for bumping your head on shit.
That's 95% of what they're good for.
Correct. And then B, ballistically, you've got at least a fucking chance that something's not going to rip your fucking skull in half. And it's like, yeah, it's annoying to wear. They're heavy. They're whatever. They can be uncomfortable.
Yeah, if you got a weak neck, you bitch.
Right.
That's normally what I tell people because, like, I can wear them all day now because we're nerds and we can wear them all day.
Yeah.
But like a lot of people are like 5 minutes into it. I was like, well, stop having a weak neck.
Yeah. Get your neck muscles to work.
That's right. Start wearing them more.
They do adapt, but the problem I had with mine is because I put those BLSS pads in there instead of the issued ones. It was so comfortable, but it was so fucking hot. It did not breathe. And that's the problem that I had. But I was like, I'm willing to trade that off and drink more water and, get in the shade more than having an uncomfortable fucking helmet on for days,
True. You could also do it where you like just have all the pads in the front and the back, and then you just take the crown pad out so you have an air channel that goes from ear to ear.
Well,
you're not supposed to do that, but like,
yeah. Well, the problem I had is like I had my hair really short in Iraq, so I took the crown pad out once, and like the Velcro like strips were like rubbing against my head, the top of my head.
Oh yeah.
And so I was like, well, fuck it, I'll just throw this back in. It sat higher. I liked it when it sat lower, but like it sat a little bit higher. That's why I had to have the crown pad in there.
True. You could always try to acquire an extra little rectangular pad to just have something to hold it off.
Yeah, well, yeah. And that's the thing is like I had mine packed. Like there was no air channels.
Oh,
but it was super. I mean, I'm telling you, dude, besides the weight, which my neck was used to, it was fine.
Yeah.
I literally like I had other people try it on. They're like, it's like I'm wearing a sofa, like a comfortable sofa.
Because those Oregon Aero pads are like
they're great.
The best
they just
pads you could
the
ever
way
get.
I had them packed, they don't breathe. But also the fucking thing didn't move when I ran, and that was one of the biggest things that pissed me off about like the issued pads in basic. Is like when I would run, it would fucking wobble all over, and I'm like, okay, that's not good. And so
having a nice, not worn out, disgusting.
Oh, it was literally like form fitting to my fucking skull, and it was so good, and it was awesome. So
I get it. Those Oregon Aero pads are actually getting kind of pricey to find too.
Yeah, I think I paid $50 or $60 back in the day because I was like, it's worth it. Because my dad had gotten some when he was in Iraq in 2004 and 5, and he had acquired some. And he's like, these are the fucking best.
Yeah,
because they're thinner, they're softer.
Yep.
But they form to your head so that your helmet doesn't move, and they're comfortable, but it is hot because
and they're made by blind people.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Yeah, I know. Crunchy, like, dude, everybody's mileage may vary. Like, because I know most of the guys that I deploy with, and my friends, like in basic and all that shit, they would wear the issued pads and they'd be just fine. But like, I don't know what it is about.
They're awful.
Right, but about like, it's just weird. It's like maybe a sensory thing or like whatever. But like my head, it just didn't do well with the fucking issued pads. So then I bought these pads, and it was fucking awesome, man.
Yeah. The problem I have with the issued like pads is like because we went and cross trained in Alaska.
Yeah.
At Wainwright, the people that would pick up their ACH, and in the extreme cold, those pads get so fucking hard, and the Velcro stops working. So they go to like put their helmet on, and like 6 of the pads would just fall out of the helmet.
Yes.
And then you'd have to like put them in your jacket pockets to warm them up, and then re-stick them into your helmet before you could put your helmet on.
And the Oregon Aero ones, whether it's hot or cold, they're going to stay in.
Yeah.
They're hard at first in the cold. They're hard, but like they warm up very quick, but they also stick. Yeah. And that's the thing is like, yeah, it was insane. So, but yeah, Crunchy, I did have a new set of pads. Like when we were at SRC or SRP, whatever they called it, at Douglas in late 2008, like November or December rather. And we got all of our new shit for deployment and all that stuff, like our Molly 2 shit, which sucked. We got our new ACHs and shit. I got a brand new set of pads too with that, but it still was sliding around. I don't know what the hell it was. It wasn't comfortable. It was like they felt hard. And so I get headaches. And then that's why I bought the pad set. So
yep, if you could find them for like cheap at like a surplus store or something, Oregon Aero pads are the way to go.
Oh yeah. Yep, the thinner ones. Yep. Because I should have been probably issued an extra large ACH.
Yeah.
But I'm like right in between, like
on the cusp, large. And then it comes down to like how do you measure who measured you as to which one you got?
Well, yeah, Crunchy was in the unit before me, so no. When we went to SRC, like I've been on a basic for like 2 weeks, and went to SRC at Douglas in December at 2008.
Yeah.
And they issued us new ACHs and everything, all the new Molly shit. Except for we got the IOTVs at Bliss. I know that.
Yeah.
But like we got ACHs. We got the new rifleman kit too with our assault pack and everything.
Yeah.
The new like whatever. And still better than Pazgets. Pazgets are amazing shells, and the liner was fucking terrible.
I was gonna say I like the Pazget shape a lot more.
Me too.
Than the ACH, but I do not like the liner as much.
Dude, that fucking the Rebel style, but they made it out of hard nylon, and it's like it digs into your fucking head. So
that's why I love the USMC, the first gen lightweight.
Lightweight helmet,
that's the fucking best helmet. Like one of the best helmets the US has ever made.
All the protection that is provided by the Pazget shape shell, with a fucking like ACH, like the padded liner and the 4-point chin strap. Yeah.
Oh no, I like the Gen 1 lightweight helmet.
What's that?
So it still has like a Pazget style suspension system, but it has the crown pad is replaced with like a mesh net.
Oh, I didn't.
Rather than having the Riddell, I have one somewhere. I could go get one. I have it here. I'll be back.
Well, Crunchy, they call it the lightweight helmet. The Marine Corps still uses that. And I don't know, like, because the ACH, it's fun, it's easy to use, but like you lose a lot of protection that the Pasget shaped shell has with the visor, and it's a little bit farther down the sides and whatever. It's easier to mount like night vision to the ACH, but
I got plenty of stuff. All right. First things first. Pasget. I know mine's fancier than yours. Shut up. I know you're jealous. Not you, Mike. I'm talking about all of them because I got the fancy 3-point. But that's what that crown pad looks like in a regular Pasget. The Riddell style.
They also put that donut. You ever seen the donut that goes above that?
The foam pad, yeah.
Yep.
I have one, but I took a lot of shit out of this one because it's my Rolls Royce one's got the parachute pad, 3-point liner. The nice extra nice like gel foam sweatband.
Yes.
I've literally every upgrade for the Pasget you possibly get. Okay. And then this is what the Marines adopted first. So this is actually what they issued. This is their upgraded Pasget. So this is the first gen lightweight helmet. It has a synthetic leather, 4-point chin strap, synthetic leather thing, and it has this nice crown pad that is adjustable behind.
Like the BA-26.
Yeah, and it's adjustable back here. So it has this Velcro strip that goes from the base to the top, and then you pull this little strip, and it kind of cinches it higher or lower, but it's a mesh crown pad. And it is so much better than the pads, and it is so much better than the Pasget suspension. This is like what if I had to choose a helmet right here, because it breathes so much better. It's so much adjustable for winter equipment and everything, and it actually distributes the weight, and it's so nice feeling.
Again, it's a BA-26. Like that's the style that they use. So.
Yeah. So, but this is I think the best helmet, the Gen 1 lightweight helmet. So
yeah, I would agree. Like that
because you don't need to replace the suspension every 6 months, like you have to do the ACH pads as required by the manual. Whether that actually happened or not, kind of is up to you. But
right, yeah, that's cool. I like that a lot. And yeah, I'm
surprised you don't have one of those. I'm surprised you don't have a Gen 1 lightweight helmet.
Dude, I have a fucking later gen lightweight helmet.
So do I. Yeah, I got one of the tan ones because the cool thing about all the early gen lightweight helmets, they're all green.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and dude, the Marines are. Here's the thing: is I actually think the A4 is the superior weapon to the M4.
I agree.
But for vehicles,
you also really like the M16 compared to the M4 because a lot of the current members of the military would disagree. They really like the M4 because they don't know how to fight and they're bitches, and the reason we're going to lose to the Chinese.
Well, dude, I was issued an M4 and I'm proficient as fuck with one. Like
the M16 is a much better weapon platform.
It is just because it's just like more versatile. Like
it is much more versatile.
And I get it for vehicles and shit because at that point, like when I was in, like it was all about. We were still a light infantry unit, but we had Humvees. We had vehicles. And then some of the guys like Crunchy, like when we got to Iraq, he was in an MRAP. I get it. Okay. So like an M4 is great because it's more compact.
Yeah. It's great if you're a special forces operator or somebody who rides in a vehicle or doesn't do jack shit. And that's what the M4 is good for.
As a light infantry company, like I was curious why we actually didn't get like A4s.
Yeah.
Because I know some of the guys that I went to basic with, they went to 3rd ID at Fort Gordon in Fort Benning, and they had A4s and they deployed to Iraq with A4s.
Yeah, I would much rather have gotten A4.
Right,
because I got deployed with a C7, which is an A3.
Right,
an A3 with a collapsible buttstock. So imagine a full length A3 M16, but it has an M4 collapsible buttstock on it. That's it.
Yeah, it's weird, but like it's still like if you need the distance, you've got it.
Mm-hmm. And that Elcan fucking baby, the Elcan scope.
Yeah, that gets
baby.
heavy. Yeah, it gets heavy.
Well, of course it's heavy. The Canadian M16 was the heaviest M16 you could get anyways already. So
yeah.
But
fuck yeah.
They should put collapsible stocks on the on M16s and just have the A5. That would be a thing. They should do that.
The A5? What the fuck is the A5?
It was an experiment the Marine Corps did where they were basically going to copy the Canadian C7A1 and take a full-length M16 and just put an M4 buffer tube and...
Yeah, the carbine buffer tube,
Yeah, on it, and a collapsible stock, just like the Canadians did. And then they decided we don't give a shit enough.
Well, at what point do you stop? You know what I mean?
So when the AR-15 platform should have been replaced was 1955.
Yep.
That's when it should have been replaced with something better. And for some reason we still have it, and it is 2023 now.
So what would you have gone with?
That's a good question. But like I probably honestly, as far as like all of the guns that the US military has tested, and like, because it's something I've been following for so long, and it always just comes down to the cost.
Yep.
Okay. But like, the US already spends so much in taxes, and they spend so much more money on their military than any other country, actually more than the next 20 countries combined. But the one gun that they had that had passed literally all of their tests, like they have a rigorous test, even compared to a lot of other countries. The US service rifle test is actually really strenuous. The Scar L passed everything.
So
it was the one gun that has ever aced the US service rifle test, like the adoption test of like, should this be adopted? And it was approved by everybody at every position in the line of it through the evaluation. Aced every single test. It is the only rifle to have ever done so. And they were like, it's too expensive.
Well, is it?
I mean, it literally fucking aced your test at every step. So, all 4 steps to where it needs to get approved. Aced every single fucking one.
I think I figured out why they didn't do that. Because it was during a wartime.
Yeah, probably.
You know, and it was
this was actually like 2004.
Yeah, so it's wartime. Iraq and Afghanistan were hot as fuck at that point.
Yeah.
And so, because now, like this guy just says, you know, the M57 service rifle, we're not in any major wars yet.
This is our time to fuck with shit. Yeah.
This is our time to actually spend money on quality and not quantity. So, yeah, I've never fucked with a Scar, to be honest with you. Like, I've held one.
They're great. They're switchable to be ambidextrous. They got a folding, telescoping stock. Sure. They come in various different barrel lengths. They have a very nice recoil impulse. They're ugly as sin. But you could do just about anything to them that you could do with an M4 as far as hooking grenade launchers, optics, modifications, suppressors, all that other good stuff. Takes Stanags even. So like, it operates a lot of the same, other than now instead of having the weird like blah 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 blah, you have an actual like charging handle. That's about it.
Yeah, and I know all that shit, but I would like to go fuck with one someday.
I mean, they're nice. They're very pleasant.
So okay. So the Scar L, would you pick a different round?
I'm not a fan of 5.56 because I think the round is too small and it's too hot for what it needs to do.
It just doesn't go. I don't think it reaches out. I would like to have a service rifle that can reach out to 1,000 yards, but doesn't fucking kill your shoulder and weigh you down with like 7.62-5.1.
Well, here's the thing: they're basically adopting 7.62-5.1 with the new rifle. The 6-spear is literally a 7.62-5.1 neck down to 6.8 with extra powder. That's all it is.
Yeah, but like from what I understand, that's only a DMR right now, right?
No, it's going to be the squad automatic weapon is going to take that, and all of the frontline rifles are supposed to take that. Not just the DMRs. It's supposed to be all interchangeable. Like, you basically can change the upper receiver and the barrel, so the whole trigger group, lower receiver, and stock is the same. And you could just ka-chunk, 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 and plug and play for what you need to do.
Okay.
For as far as barrel length and upper receiver. That's the whole thing about it.
Yeah, I haven't looked too much into it because, dude, I've been
following it very close because
I know you have.
I'm genuinely impressed with the system, actually.
Okay, and, yeah, like, because I would be very curious, like, eventually, because I've been around since the XM8, the XM6, all that shit, like, back in the day, and I'm just like, every time they come up with this new fandangled fucking dream rifle, the Scar, you know, it's like they never fucking adopt it, and I'm like, finally they adopted this one, they're paying for it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, now I'm curious.
Well, the reason they're paying for it is because it's an M4 with a piston. It's literally like an AR with a piston, and then it's now just instead of making 308, they're making 308 by reinventing the wheel by creating the dodecahedron. Instead of just adopting 308 again, which they have a piss ton of and is still an active caliber and will do literally everything they want it to, because soldiers can't shoot as good to get the nice performance out of this fucking spicy 6.8 hot loaded. You might as well just adopt 308.
51 is kind of pointless then.
Yeah, I would just say go back to fucking 308, because look at how far gun technology is now. They make all those super like high speed FALs and shit, and all these high speed AR-10s where technology has come so far to where it has barely more recoil impulse than a 5.56, one of the standard service rifle 5.56s. You know, like a standard bare bones M4 has almost the same recoil impulse as one of the nicer 308s, you know, like FALs with a short barrel that you can still fit into a vehicle with, and you could still be confident clearing rooms with and stuff. So I'm like, why not just adopt the 308? Okay, so like take the SIG Spear, fuck your 6.8 cartridge, okay? Just make it in 308, okay? So it's a common caliber, your GP machine gun and everything down, bam, takes that. Great. You're all on the same round now. You don't even need to have 2 rounds, because right now we have 2 rounds. Because you have your GP machine gun, then you have your squad automatic and all your assault rifles and carbines, blah, 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 blah. And then your DMR kind of takes 308 sometimes, depending on which one you get. But like, just make everything fucking 308. Everyone in the front line has a 308 or a goddamn 9mm handgun that you're never going to use. And one kind of ammo. Done deal. Okay? Because most of your soldiers can't shoot good enough to get the performance out of a fucking 308 even. Okay?
Right.
So just fucking take 308. Make everything fucking 308. Because here's the thing. The SIG Spear thing isn't going to replace the GPMG. It's only replacing the SAW. We're still going to have 240s for a long time. So you're still going to have 308. You're still literally going to have 308 in the front lines. No, just make 308. Fuck your 6.8 cartridge. Make the SIG Spear, but just make it take fucking 308, 7.62x51. And just take advantage of all this technology that has come out since like the 50s. Okay, as far as felt recoil impulse and muzzle climb and stuff. And just put that into a rifle. All right? Put that into an AR and make it piston driven, which is what the SIG Spear is. And then do that. Just do that. We would save so much money, and we're not reinventing the wheel, and it's going to be a familiar weapon platform, and we already have all the ammo in service. You don't need to deal with shit. You don't need to have fucking bimetal cases, because the 6.8, it's so hot that it has to have that fucking bimetal case, which is going to create problems, because once again, it's great. All the ammo right now is being made by SIG to a very high quality because they want it to be nice. Well, it goes through adoption process. But once all these fucking places start making that shit cheap, I swear to God, we're going to have fucking stuff where that steel part separates from the blast part all the time. I'm calling it now. It's going to be a huge thing in the fucking news. And just make 308. Just use 308. It works. We have a shit ton of it. We have guns that take it. Just make the primary service rifles in fucking 308. And we're done. We're done. It's a done deal. It's everything we need it to be. Cut the fucking barrels off, put a piston in the fucking AR, and we're all set. Right there, it's done.
I mean, but that would be too simple, and people that have stakes in ammo manufacturing plants and shit like that wouldn't make their money.
Yeah, but like they also could just start making 308.
Yeah, but then you got to pay to retool it, and that would cut into their billions of dollars a year.
But here's the thing: they don't need to pay to retool it. They just need to go from 6.8 to a 30 caliber die. Bam.
No, I know, but like you know how that works, though.
Yeah.
Like, well, we're gonna have to gut out this entire
people's palms got greased. Yeah. That's the reason why we have so much bullshit we don't need. Is palms got greased.
Yep, I'm aware.
That's it, because America doesn't do anything unless they make money. So, the AR platform blows dick. It's terrible.
There was somebody in the comments today that, like, not on the chat, but like in my comments, that said that the AR is not actually a direct gas impingement. It's a piston system. It's a short stroke piston system. And I'm like,
you're dumb as fuck.
Show me the fucking piston.
Yeah, you're dumb as fuck.
They said the piston is actually contained in the bolt, and I'm like, or the bolt carrier assembly, and I'm like,
No.
I'm pretty sure I'm somewhat familiar with the platform, right? Like I'm okay with it. I've got a little bit of experience on the fucking thing, right? It's direct gas impingement. It's 100% using gas to push the bolt carrier back, just like a fucking Moss 49, 56, just like a fucking Hakeem, just like an AG42B.
Yeah.
It's literally that. It's just a little bit farther back in the receiver.
Yeah. It is a direct gas impingement, but it's a fancy direct gas impingement.
Yeah.
It's
a short stroke piston. I'm like,
no, it's
you
not.
don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah. But it's great. I tell people all the time.
The bolt itself is the piston.
No, it's the bolt.
It's the bolt carrier.
Yeah, it's the bolt. It's not a piston. It's not called the bolt piston. It's called the bolt. Here's the thing. I shit on the AR a lot. It is a terrible service rifle. Okay, it is. It needs a lot of maintenance. It needs a lot of fine tooth comb cleaning. It's plastic and it's aluminum, which aren't the most durable materials and stuff. And it needs this massive supply chain behind it to keep this system running. Okay, that's my big problem with it. Because what happens now if you get into a 48-hour slog where you're almost continuously shooting your gun and it starts to choke itself because the gas system is so poor, because your ammo isn't as good as what the manuals say it needs to have, because government, and because you're not on a range and you're in the mud and you're in the rain dealing with this shit and you're in this humidity and it's just choking itself even faster. And now there's a wave coming at you and your gun seizes up and you do not have time to sit down and take it apart and scrape carbon off of it. That is my problem with the AR. The AR is designed for very short quick engagements in a environment where you can clean it very regularly, which is not what a service rifle should be. That's my one argument against it. And I'm like, if they did take the AR and literally put a short stroke piston in it, it would be great. But its current configuration as a fancy direct impingement is fucked, and it's going to kill it. And if the U.S. ever gets into a major engagement where the supply lines break down instantly because the U.S. does not have supply lines that could handle a giant actual engagement, like a giant actual war.
Oh, like a huge world war, yeah.
The U.S. is going to, within 5 days, the supply lines are going to be fucked and the rifles are going to fall apart. That is the problem.
So, yeah, it's been
since Vietnam. How you kill the United States is you kill the trucks.
Well, right, but so it's funny because so you know my Benelli, my M4, the 1014?
Yeah.
I bought that thing in 2017 or 18, right? Mm-hmm. I've run about probably 10,000 rounds through it. I've cleaned it exactly 0 times.
Yeah.
Because I just want to see
how long it'll last.
How fucking long it'll last. And it also shoots in the winter and very cold. It functions just fine.
Shoots in the summer.
It's a self-cleaning fucking system. It's very expensive though. There we go. We're getting back on that.
That's the US's problem.
And the Marine Corps adopted that as their fucking combat shotgun.
Because
I'm sorry, their door breaching shotgun that was never used in combat officially, never. But that thing, the Marines swear by that fucking thing. I swear by mine. I fucking love this thing. It's multi-purpose. I've shot trap league with it, which the Boomer Fuds, my God, did they fucking hate that? But I fucking smoked them.
Yep.
They got the Browning Satori, whatever the fuck model it is. It's $3,000 for a 2 fucking barreled shotgun, double barreled, 2 blasts. They paid $3,000 for that. I paid fucking $2,300 for mine in the configuration.
Yep.
And they're like, "Oh, is that an assault shotgun?" I'm like, "No, it's a shotgun. This is what a shotgun is now."
Yep.
The future is now, old man. And I go up there and I had to put a choke in it because it's got an 18.5-inch barrel on it, of course.
Yeah.
I found a choke, and when I missed, it was because of me. It wasn't the gun.
Yep.
And it wasn't the equipment. It was me.
And I've shot your 1014, and it's actually really nice.
They're
super nice.
Yeah, but it's a self-cleaning, very easy recoil, easy to handle, easy to maintain. You knock it's easy. It's as easy as an AR, if not easier, to knock that thing down and clean the big parts.
Yeah,
I have taken
would
it
say
apart.
it
I
is.
just haven't
It
cleaned
is
it.
easier to field strip and quickly clean.
Right.
Than an AR.
I've never actually cleaned it, but I've taken it apart, and I'm like, wow, there's not that much carbon on here. And I took apart the actual like piston system that they have. It's a proprietary.
And shotgun shells are actually like heinously dirty.
Oh my god, yeah. And so here's the cool thing: is like my neighbor, he has a Saga, which is whatever. It fucking spits rounds when it likes them. So he got
it's nice ammo.
No, here's the thing: is I think I told you about this, but I'll tell the viewers. He got this massive fucking box
of hand loads. Yeah, hand loads.
Random. Yep. I think because you were here. Did we not?
Yeah, we shot it, and his were having issues, and yours were just no matter what it was.
Ate them like fucking whatever, and it was like more recoil on some of them, but like the ones that wouldn't chamber in the Saga, which is meant. I mean, that thing's known for eating a lot of different shitty rounds.
Well, yeah, it's an AK shotgun.
Right, and his would have problems, and I'd be like, "You give it to me, I'd drop it in the fucking chamber it, bam, no problems extracting." But again, the Saga, besides the trade restrictions, is like a $300 shotgun, right? I know they're more now. You don't have to fucking lecture me. Well, no, they're like $800 now. Yeah, it's like a $200 to $300 shotgun. The quality of it, right?
Yep. They're making it like shit. Yeah.
Yeah, the Benelli, that's an $1,800 shotgun.
It is an $1,800 shotgun, and it's worth it.
Well, that's the thing is like that was one of my dream guns from Counter-Strike, to be honest. But like, I was like, when I get that shotgun, I don't need any other shotguns. Like that's gonna be my universal.
Man, you really don't. It's the way to go,
dude. That fucking thing is. I know. Beretta's got the 31 something series. That's supposed to be a little bit better.
3100, yeah.
But here's the thing: is that fucking thing again? 10,000 rounds through it. That's being very conservative in the estimate too. Like. That's being like, I probably have more through it because I just go out and shoot the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
That fucking thing has never been cleaned and it functions flawlessly. I've never had a malfunction on it. Never. But because it's expensive, the U.S. military, like the entire U.S. military, will never adopt it.
They're like, we have the 870.
Which is a
phenomenal shotgun.
No, they don't have the 870. They have the Mossberg 500 and 590.
They have both, depending on where you are.
Dude, the 870.
They got rid of all the 870s?
They never, they might have gotten a few of them. No, they went with the Mossberg 500. Okay. Back when like this whole, like each branch needs a shotgun, right? Yeah. Maybe the Navy or the Air Force has 870s, but like, I'm pretty sure the Army never got 870s. Like in modern days.
I know some people somewhere in the United States at some point got 870s. Some military branch adopted a shit ton of 870s.
Maybe.
And I would rather have an 870 than a Mossberg 500.
Absolutely. They're a little bit heavier, but I love 870s. I think the Remington 870 is the best pump action shotgun that's ever been made.
It's the pinnacle of pump action technology.
It's literally, you can say the Ithaca 37 because it extracts from the bottom, blah, blah, blah. The Winchester Model 12, the 1897. I think the Remington Model 870 is the single best multi-purpose, well-built shotgun ever, or pump action shotgun, I should say, ever fucking devised.
Yep.
Okay. That being said, it's got its flaws too. It's heavy. It's like, that's about its only flaw that I can think of.
It has like 4 moving parts. The whole gun,
right?
Nothing in it. Yeah.
Well, and the Benelli, it seems like it's so complicated, and it would be so complicated, but it's fucking super simple.
It's not.
And it's just highly. And the Italians are really good at making shotguns and pistols.
Yeah, they are.
Their submachine guns and rifles.
Yeah.
They work.
They do. That's all they need them to do, to be fair.
But. Right. They work. They're not like bad. They're not like, they don't stand out. Their shotguns and pistols are fucking great.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, great. And especially their shotguns. Like
that's right. I would agree. It's probably the best thing they make.
Yeah. And you got Benelli, you got Franchi, and you've got Beretta, who make phenomenal shotguns. Like the Spas 12. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking like the modern ones.
Yep.
They all make phenomenal fucking shotguns.
Fair.
But
yeah, moral of the story is the AR should have been replaced 70 years ago.
Yeah. Not with the M14 either. The M14 not good.
The M14 was a fucking train wreck, but
yep. It's just
there's a reason why it was used less time than the goddamn Craig Jorgensen.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is something I always have to point out to people that are like, the M14 has like the Craig Jorgensen was used longer.
Watch out! Don't say Craig Jorgensen or some Norwegian guy's gonna comment and be like, "I made the video on the pronunciation of Craig Jorgensen."
Yeah, well, you know what?
He literally got pissed off. I was like, dude, I'm from the U.S. I have a mostly English-speaking audience. They know it as the Craig Jorgensen. Okay,
Yep.
at least I spelled it right in the fucking title. Right?
Yeah, where you do the fancy O and shit like that. Yeah.
And I'm like, but with Europeans, like, they just view all Americans as being absolutely fucking retarded.
Well,
It's
they
like,
could come fight us with their no guns.
right? But it's like, dude, when it's applicable, I will try to pronounce shit correctly.
Yeah.
But when I'm trying to get a point across to mostly English speaking, either first or second language audiences, I'm gonna just say it the way that it's familiar.
Yeah.
So
like I get it. Like I say, like everyone says, Mannlicher.
Yeah.
Even though it's
Mannlicher.
Mannlicher.
Yeah. Mannlicher.
That's how he said his name was pronounced. Mannlicher.
Yep.
And I do it when it's like I make that thing. I'm like, but I'm gonna his name was actually blah 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 pronounced like this, and I'll do it once, and I'm like, but I'm gonna keep saying Mannlicher because
Europeans are the worst for that because it's like I was like, when you could pronounce the word squirrel as a German.
Yeah, squirrel. Yeah, or a French person or something. I'll listen to you. Yeah.
Yeah, when you have zero accent and you can pronounce everything in English correctly, then you can give me shit.
That's right, and I would like examples of all the theirs and twos and and in proper context.
Yeah. So, but anyway, no, the 1014, or the M4 in general, I think it's a fucking amazing shotgun. And hey, I wish the military would adopt more technology like that costs more money, but is easy to maintain.
No, we have to reinvent the wheel by making the dodecahedron, Mike.
We also have to keep the military-industrial complex people happy.
Yeah, running. That
have got money in stock in this shit,
Yep. They got money invested in money.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, I've been going for about 3 fucking hours.
I see that.
On for an hour and a half, but yeah, good stream. I just figured, because I've gotten in the past week and a half, I've gotten almost, or probably more than this, 8,000 new subs.
Damn.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking insane. It's the biggest growth I've ever had. So I figured, I'll do a stream. That's why I was asking you earlier. I'm like, hey, what are you doing today? And then when you woke up,
I've had a very rough couple of days at work the last few weeks. So.
Yeah, it's you were saying is you gave me a little bit of the lowdown, but
lowdown on it, and it is not something that happens every day. It's real shit.
Yeah.
So,
but no, and then I was like, hey, what better way to have a stream with Devin? And because I know you have World War I shit. That's the thing.
I have a lot of World War I shit,
and you're the usual guest, so
that's true.
There's a couple of the old timers that were like, I was like, hey, I'm gonna have a guest on pretty soon. They're like, oh, is it Devin? And I'm like, yep. They're like, fucking yeah. So you guys get it.
At least I'm liked, I guess so.
Well, kind of.
So I'll take it. Kind of.
We tolerate you.
That's passing any test I ever took.
Dude, did you see this fucking thing?
I did see that thing.
Dude,
I'm genuinely impressed.
There's one guy in the U.S. that makes a handful of these every year. He actually made my uniform.
The whole thing, yeah.
Yep. So he one time a year he'll make a few of these. This year I fucking nailed one. He's like, sent out the email and I'm like, bam, got it.
Yep. Take my money.
Now I've got the fucking kepi and I also got this from him. He took a repro and put a nice actual accurate liner
nice
in
one,
it,
yeah.
And then repainted it correctly, put a nice strap on it. This guy is fucking cool.
There you go.
So yeah, he made the uniform. Was not cheap, but I
know you've always wanted to do a French impression.
Oh, dude. At that point I had a few extra bucks and I'm like, you know what? I was like, what's your price? He's like $700 for the pants and the coat. And I was like, yeah, I know how much work goes into it. The wool's not cheap, but go ahead. Here's the specs that I want. And he fucking nailed it. And then, then he had this is a Black Friday thing.
Damn.
He did he had 5 of them in stock or something. Maybe he had more, but on the site it showed 5. And I was like, oh, my size. Bam, could not buy it fast enough. Because it's fucking awesome, man.
I think my whole get up for this was about, I think after shipping, it was almost 600 euros.
Yeah. Yeah, it's expensive. If you want to get something made right,
Yeah, I was totally willing to pay it because, you know how hard it is to find just Austro-Hungarian stuff in general.
Oh, yeah.
Because, it's not German or American, so nobody gives a shit about it.
Nobody gives a shit. You have to look. You have to pay for it. So, but, yeah, and then he also made this private purchase cravat.
There you go.
So it's like the light blue.
Yeah.
Like somebody would just buy it, have it made. So
yeah, I got to get the stand collar shirt for this, so I stopped wearing the fucking.
Oh yeah.
Around my neck because the
dude,
fucking.
It's funny because like the Germans had the Hausbinde, right? So like the little thing that went across. The French had the cravat. The Americans had nothing, so they would take their itchy ass wool undershirts and put it up over the collar.
And it would be marginally better.
Marginally better, yes.
Because it was just not as coarse of wool.
Yeah, right. It's like, like this was actually like, you see a lot of French reenactors that get into it and they don't wear the cravat, because they don't know about it or they don't want to get it. It's like, no, this was literally a fucking like your
thing
ID
that
card.
Like everybody did.
Your ID card, like you have to have this on you. It's a piece of your uniform at all times. And it's also very functional. Because like you don't see it right now because of the collar, but like it's super functional. And
because like the Canadians and the British, they had the standing collar undershirt.
Yeah, it was cotton, wasn't it?
It was a wool undershirt, but the collar part that stood up was cotton.
Yeah,
that was it.
Okay, there you go. There you go. The Americans are fucking stupid, and they had a Mandarin collar.
Yeah,
it's like what the fuck. The American.
Well, that's what the Canadians did too. In the they had the 1907. It was the Mandarin standing collar. They had but you had the undershirt was still the cotton.
But it's so stupid. The American undershirt's always wool, slightly less itchy. But then it's just like, what the fuck, man? Like the American World War I uniform sucks. The gear, everything fucking sucks. It's terrible.
Wait, are you telling me the 1912 bag that's not a bag was terrible?
1910 bag?
Oh, whatever.
It's a diaper with straps. That's all it is. It's a diaper with straps. Then they put another strap on it and call it the 1928 pack.
There you go.
And they used it through the Second World War.
Hell
so
yeah.
Now the Americans, like, they're always really dumb on their fucking uniforms and gear. Except in Vietnam. That's the one pass. Well, and late Korea. But like Vietnam, they
got shit right.
Good uniforms and okay gear for the time. The only problem with like canvas heavy gear is like when it gets wet, good luck getting shit out of there.
Yeah, that's why they started switching to nylon.
Right, but that's it.
Yeah.
Like the M56 gear is great. It's silent. It's fucking. It's comfortable. I mean, the H suspenders dig into your neck a little bit when you're not used to it, but
that's just thing where you get better neck muscles. But
right. Well, it's chafing. Like it's like you got to develop a callus on your upper back.
Yeah.
If you're wearing the actual load, and then
but like it was a system that was so good that the only thing they changed on it was they started making the web equipment out of nylon instead of cotton.
Well, and they used the Y suspenders instead of the H.
True.
So it didn't dig into your, because I used the fucking LC2 shit in basic, and it was fucking awesome.
Great.
It's great gear. I love it.
You're telling me Alice gear is better?
Yeah.
I agree.
Most Molly gear is, they try to be so fucking futuristic and so like terrible. Modular. It's like customizable. I'm like, yeah, well, the LC2 is customizable too. If I don't want my ammo pouch right here, I can just move it over on the belt. Like that's it. Oh, you have to wear a belt. Well, I have to wear a fucking vest with a bunch of shit on it that I can't take off.
And what if it's like 1,000,000 degrees and you're just going to the range where you don't need your heavy body armor?
Well, there you go. Train how you fight,
though. Put on the belt and your suspenders and go.
Yeah, train how you fight, though. That's the thing they always told us. I always attach my shit to my vest because I'm like, they give me the flick, the fighting load carrier.
Yeah, I love those.
And I'm like, yes, and yet another piece of kit that I have to fucking take off if I get hit or something.
But like, I like the versatility of it because now I can just be like, oh, I don't need my body armor. I'll just put my flick on.
And here's the thing: is it's very divided. Like 50% of people that I know that were in like around the time like we were like GWAT time, they loved the flick and they used it. Like even when I was in Iraq, like half the guys used the flick, half the guys didn't like it. I didn't like it. I just attached all my shit to my fucking
Well, the other thing I really liked about having like the flick and like the tap panel and stuff like that is like, oh, it's cold now. I can put my vest on underneath my now gigantic ass overcoat I need to put on without having to spend 2 hours adjusting it.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or just compressing myself to where I can't breathe. And then I can just adjust my flick, which is 2 straps, and bam, throw it on over my layers, but still have my vest on underneath everything.
See, I just wore my jacket underneath my fucking vest.
Yeah, and you're just like, just like sucking air as your vest is like extra tight.
Back when I was actually not as fat as I am now, like there was extra room, like where you could actually put like a fucking fleece or something on underneath the vest, and it'd be fine. But like,
but I'm talking like extreme cold gear.
Well, yeah, I never had to do that. That's the problem. Is like when I got out of basic, it was cold, but like we didn't do any training. It was always getting ready for the deployment. Then we went on deployment. We went to Texas and then Kuwait and then Iraq. It's like it was all hot weather environments, so I didn't have to worry about that. Like putting layers on.
I always just liked having nothing hooked to my vest if I could bother it, because
it's all, and that is one thing that Molly's good for, is it's good for personalization and customization. I will say that. You can do it. You can do it a little bit more than you can with the LC2. However, the LC2 is just fine. It works just fine.
It's fine.
So it is what it is.
But yeah, I just liked having that ability, because then I never had to adjust my vest. It always went on over the fucking blouse. And if I had to put more layers on everything, just went on over that. And then my web gear just went on over everything else.
And dude, my dad he's a lover of the flick, right?
Yeah.
And
and if it's hot and I don't need to wear my body armor, fuck yeah, I can just wear my flick and I'm not gonna die of heat stroke.
Well, that's the thing though, is like we always had to wear fucking, like when we had to wear a body armor, we had to wear it. And it's like, why am I gonna put on another fucking layer of nylon over the vest?
I'm just like, oh, you're just going to a rifle qual? I'm not putting on my vest.
Well, no, they always made us wear our vests at rifle qual.
Well, that's because the US is dumb.
Again, train how you fight. Train how you fight. Train how you fight. Like that's what they said. But like, so I was like, well,
so you're telling us we're gonna fight by laying down on a line and wait for people to tell us to shoot while we all,
Yep. No, that's how it is. Like, so that's why I was just like, well, fuck it. I'm lazy and I just like it better.
There's gonna be guys down there dressed as targets.
Well, my philosophy was, and I still stand by this, because like I was like, if I get hit, that's another thing that they have to try to like peel or like get off of me to get underneath to the vest, pull the cord and like treat me, right? That was my philosophy. And I was like, if I just have all the shit on the IOTV, they can just come up to me and fucking pull the cord, use my IFAK, and then it's everything's off. There's not that extra step. That was my philosophy, because I was paranoid about that and whatever. But like, half the guys were like, I love this thing, and half the guys were like me. They were like, no, I don't want to wear that extra shit. So
I get it. I just like that. I always hated the Molly system. It seemed just dumb to me. But
well, I also don't like that once it's on, you can't move it. Like on the LC2, like I said, if you're laying down,
you can shift it. Like if you need to,
exactly.
Your equipment can just be slid over to the side because it's on a different thing. Yeah.
Right. That's the thing, is like, because there was several times like in basic where I was wearing that I'd like jump down and it had shifted because of the live rounds or whatever. And I would just go move it. And then I could roll and like lay down and be comfortable.
But you are correct, sir. You do have to undo 2 buckles if you get shot.
The flicks? No, we had a huge zipper on ours.
Oh, ours are just 2 little buckles.
Oh no, it was a huge zipper and buckles.
Oh no, we just had 2 little buckles. Yeah.
That's what I was saying. Is like I don't know if you ever like experienced the US or
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I haven't ever got to use one of the US ones, but like the Canadian ones came up to like here. Molly came up to like here in the front, and it came like halfway up your back in the back, because the US ones only have like the little strip in the back, right? The like 2 rows of Molly webbing in the back.
Or I don't know about the back because I never used that, but like but no, like the front, it came up to here. Well, it came up to here. It was like it went around your chest.
Yeah, you had the whole like chest side, but like in the back you had burr.
I don't remember the back.
It was like 2 little panels that went around the back, and then like the straps.
But anyway, like it's that huge zipper and the buckles, and it's also an extra layer of nylon. The IOTV sucked enough for like not being, it didn't breathe. They're like, oh, it's the most comfortable vest you're ever gonna wear. And it's like the first 5 seconds, you're like, yeah, this is pretty nice compared to the IOTV. The weight's off my shoulders a little bit. Yeah, well, no, it's not good. And
they put such cheap little buckles in ours too that if you pulled hard enough, you didn't even need to pull all of that hard. Like they would just come apart. It was enough to keep it secure if you're just running, but if it's like somebody needed to get all your shit off. Also, we didn't have breakaway body armor either, so like.
Well, right, and that's the thing is like that's what I mean with the extra step is like, I was like, I don't want them to have to unbuckle and then unzip, and then have to pull away. I just want and then get all that shit off of me.
Because ours were like the German one where you had the little pull tab right here, and you would yank the Velcro and slide it off to the side.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And obviously the IOTV was put it on over the top.
Poncho style, yeah.
Yep. But I mean, it was an okay. I prefer the IBA, to be honest with you.
The jacket comes off so much
it's
faster too. You have all your shit on,
exactly.
and you fucking pull those 3 snaps, and you just throw your arms back, and it just slides right off.
Yeah, the IOTV, like that thing was the one that I had that I turned in. The cover was completely like brown from sweat and fucking gun oil and shit like that. Like it was just nasty looking. But yeah, that was my whole thing with the Flick, is I just didn't. Over the IBA, it's slightly different, but like I still didn't use it. So
yeah, I get it.
Yep.
I get it.
Chris says we got the IOTV. Then 2 weeks ago, they just issued us plate carriers. Still had to take IOTV though. Yeah. Yeah, because Afghanistan, 2009 is when I started seeing my buddies I was in basic with. They were posting pictures on Facebook of them just wearing plate carriers. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, because they decided you don't need to have like the Kevlar backers anymore. They realized that like
we had the side plates in our IOTV. It's like, well, that was for Iraq, where it's a lot of VBIDs, a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, that's what they geared it for. And then it's funny how like they didn't, like I just made a video on UCP Delta, right?
Yeah, it's great.
And I put a little comment in there of like, this was only tested in Afghanistan. Fuck the guys in Iraq at that point, right?
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to test a new pattern for Iraq. They just wanted to, the guys in Afghanistan are bitching.
Well, also, they didn't need a new pattern for Iraq because the Three-Color Desert existed. They could have just gave them that.
Well, good God. No, they weren't going to do that. You know that.
Yeah. Why would they use logic? Why would they use the pattern we literally designed for this exact environment?
All of our NCOs and some of our like upper officers that were like on the deployment in 2004 and 5 that were DCUs.
Yeah.
They were like, I really miss my DCUs.
Yeah. Because they literally designed it for that environment. It was literally designed in Iraq for Iraq. And then they're like, fuck this idea. Give them blue shit.
Yeah. Fucking Christ. Yeah, it's
See, we're gonna invent the wheel, Mike, by making the dodecahedron. Why have a round shape when we could have a 12-sided, vaguely round shape?
Right. We're gonna make it a little bit rough, but
that's right.
Anyway, so
like a sandpaper dildo.
I'm gonna fucking take off and probably gonna go play games for a bit and do some work. And
I gotta get in the shower and buy food because I got 2 days off and I don't have any fucking food.
Well, go get some food so you don't wither away.
I'm already withering away.
I'm glad to see the caterpillar mustache isn't back.
Well,
yeah, I know why, but like, I'm glad to see that.
I can have it technically, and a lot of people are like, "You should grow it again." But I was like,
"No,
it's so gross. It's just another thing to get gross."
There you go.
Yeah, so,
there you
I
go.
don't need that. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
there you go. So we'll save a little bit for later on your lip. You know.
That's right. I'll just grow it to here.
Yeah, see, wear your gas mask.
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks so much for watching, everybody that's still here. I appreciate that. And Devin doesn't appreciate it, but he's just going to say he does because he's a simp. And
that's true. I am a simp.
Yeah, you are. Anyway, no, thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you on the next time we live stream.